And we alive. What's good, y'all? It's your man, DL Saint. How y'all doing? How are y'all doing? Welcome to the Downrange Podcast, guys. Downrange, y'all know what it is. We getting it in. We're gonna be talking about gun control. We talk gun control because brother Dino Dinosaur wanted to talk about it, and you know what? We need to talk about it because we're going. It's the Wild West over here in America, and it's you see these things, these horrific events. And you're like, oh my God, those Americans are crazy. Yeah, we are, but you also got to understand this is a very big country, and that's not the norm everywhere you go in America. It's just not the norm. It's horrific when you see it happen, but it's not the norm. I mean, we don't do business here like in Mexico. We don't do business here like in certain parts of Africa, or other parts of the world where it legit is dangerous. Uh, Yeah. What I mean? It's bad over here, but as bad as it seems, it's not as bad as it could be. Now, those will argue, like, well, look, we're headed that way. Maybe we are. We'll see. We'll see. Um, but yeah, that's where we are, guys. We're gonna talk about this a little bit. And yeah, it is what it is. Brother Dino Dinosaur was he stopped in early. Just to show brother some love. It was like, Brother DL, I think John Travolta qualified pilot for over 40 years. Was the film star you forgot? Yes. You're absolutely right. That was him. And I started in 98. Travolta had his entire fleet. Yes, the man had a fleet of airplanes. He had them all there at Van Nuys. I remember talking to the JTs uh, every day. Every day, I was talking to the JTs. He's either the Learjet or the Gulfstream, or I had the 707 at one point, or the Cessna. Um, they had a lot of airplanes. I can't even remember all the airplanes he had there, but like John Travolta, Patrick Swayze, um, yeah, Clint Eastwood, I said Patrick Swayze, Clint Eastwood, uh, and then there was a while when Harrison Ford would come in just about every day. He was filming something, and he did this movie where they had this airplane with big wheels on it. I forget the name of the. It was a Husky. The name of the airplane was a Husky. I forget the name of the movie. Um, it wasn't Romancing the Stone, but it was something, one of those type movies. And allegedly, they gave him the plane when they finished filming, so it was like a bonus for him. Brother Dino said 747. No, back then it was a 707. You can land a 747 at Van Nuys, but the airport would not let you there. We had the B-52 there one year for the air show at Van Nuys. Van Nuys used to have this really great air show. It was like the best air show uh in California. Everyone looked forward to it. As at Van Nuys, they were flying all the military airplanes and all these, exotic and antique airplanes. They had a static display, and they actually had biplanes come in and daredevils come in and do stuff. Man, that show was one of the greatest events I ever got to work as an air traffic controller. It was one of those things you had to work yourself up to. Only the best controllers at Van Nuys would be allowed to work, because the air show would get there and the airport would kind of shut down. The controllers would give up the airspace and they would do their things, wing walkers and all kind of stuff. It was cool. Um, but the big thing was having the military jets in and all of the old warbirds come in, and people, the community would come and just walk around. Man, that was why aviation was such a beautiful community, and kids would be there, would be dad, son, grandkids walking around, talking to aviation legends, and this is how people would want to get into this community and learn how to fly. So working that every year was amazing. And then one year stopped. Politics got involved. They had an airport manager who allegedly thought that, I don't know, they gave into some sort of pressure. I don't know what really happened, but once you stop something like that, you can't get it. It's really hard to get started up again. And they weren't able to get it started up again. So they effectively killed it. And it was a shame too. But the real air show would be when the airplanes came in and when they flew out. The day before and the day after the air show was the real air show, because that's when the air traffic controllers were just working hard. I mean, man, oh man, I got to the point where I was one of the controllers who was put in there, like get in there. It was, woo, boy. You want to talk about intense air traffic control? It was crazy from the flight levels, like from 20, 30,000 feet all the way down to the ground. It was crazy. Um, the center controllers was like inundated. The Tracon controllers were inundated, and we were at the bottom of the funnel. And I mean, some years we don't know how we made it work, but we did. Man, that was one of the things I do miss about air traffic control. Like my early years in air traffic control were the best. It were the best. And then as I continued down my, career path, it got, progressively worse for various reasons. So when it was time for me to retire, and the stuff I was dealing with and like everything that happened that forced me to retire at 50, I was happy to go. I was happy to go. And Brother Dino, like I don't know if he owns a 747 now, but he didn't have one then. It was a 707. He flew that around and it had Australian, like Qantas. I think it had Qantas markings on there. He did like a big thing. You could probably look it up. It's online somewhere. He had the 707. Trust me, I would definitely know the difference. If Travolta was flying a 747 into Van Nuys every day, everybody would know the difference. But yeah, Van Nuys has some of the biggest airplanes ever made at that airport. Like I said, some of the best pilots you've ever heard of and ever will hear of flew in and out of that airport. That airport has a very, very, very rich history. There's a documentary about it. It's called 16 Right, which is 16R. Type that in. Brian Terwilliger made the documentary. Very, 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 very good documentary. Shout out to you, Brian. Good friend of mine. One hell of a filmmaker. 16 Right. It's like it's a love affair, and it tells the story of aviation and Van Nuys, and it's a very, very good documentary. Yeah. So it was a 707, my brother. Trust me. If I were to confuse a 707 with a 747, they would fire me. Actually, they can't. And there's probably controllers out there who don't even know what a 707 is. Like I said, times have changed. It has changed. But yeah, that was good time. So today, man, we're gonna dive into this tough topic, man. We're gonna talk about gun control, bro. And I use the title "Mental Health versus Gun Control" because that's the conversation we need to have. I mean, it's not, like these weapons, they are what they are, bro. But it's the people that get their hands on these weapons. That's the problem. That's what we really need to be talking about. And America always shuns away from that conversation. I sit here every single day and y'all see some sort of weapon behind me. Like that's a shotgun. I know it looks like, it looks scary. Doesn't look like your grandpappy's shotgun, but that is a shotgun. The magazine in there now is a 10-round magazine. It has a 5-round magazine and it has a 20-round drum. I do not have the drum. There are issues with that drum. I don't want it. I don't need a shotgun that can fire, with a 20-round drum on it. But if I'm at the range and someone has it, I wouldn't mind, firing it on range to see what it's like. That's a very effective weapon. Sometimes I have the M14. Sometimes the AK-47. Sometimes it's the AR. Sometimes it's one of the long rifles. Might be the 6.5 Creedmoor. Might have back there. It is what it is. Patrick Bet-David, which is again one of my favorite platforms. Shout out to Valuetainment. I hope Patrick takes over the space. When I mean the space, I mean all of it. I hope Patrick builds this media empire that he wants to build and take over. So yeah, we'll I'm sorry, y'all got distracted. I hope he takes over. I hope his plan works well. He has, some great content over there. He has some great people he's working with. He even made Tucker Carlson an offer. I think it was $100 million offer to join Valuetainment with some ownership and creative control. It's like $20 million a year, 5-year deal. We'll see. I don't know if Tucker took the offer, but I bet you they're sitting around talking about it because that's a serious offer. And you know what I mean? And shout out to Pepe for even making it. So go over, and if you haven't, go over and subscribe to Pat, to the PBD podcast, and to Vinny's podcast and Saucecast and Jedediah. Subscribe to everything they got going over there, because they're really doing good work. Shout out to them. So yeah, I found this video from 9 months ago that Patrick put out about gun violence, and this was on the heels of Uvalde, the Uvalde massacre, when all those poor babies were massacred in their classrooms, and law enforcement did nothing about it. That this was after that, and of course, there's been plenty more since. But he kind of just ran the numbers, and it's fascinating to actually see the numbers. We're going to check that out in a second. But first, there's an article that came out today. So we're going to look at that as well. Brother Dino, March 22nd, John Travolta was granted his Boeing 737 license and added to his 707 and 747 licenses. Yes, I'm not saying he doesn't have a 747. I just said it wasn't at Van Nuys. John Travolta has a home somewhere, I think it was in Florida. I saw it in one of the aviation magazines years and years and years, decades ago, actually, where his home was basically a terminal. He built his home in an air park where you can fly your airplanes and taxi right up to your house, and his home was like a terminal. So I know he had the Gulfstreams there. I want to say he had the Cessna there. Probably the Learjet. I don't recall. Again, this was a long time ago. And definitely the 707 was there, because they took a picture of it. He probably just flew it in for the picture and then flew it back to wherever he keeps it. The 747, yes, I know he had a license. I remember seeing that on TV as well when he went through the training, got the hours. John Travolta is a very accomplished pilot. So is Tom Cruise. You know what I mean? So is Harrison Ford, even though he's old. So is Clint Eastwood, even though he's old. Even Angelina Jolie has a pilot license. I don't know if she's current, but allegedly she has one. I remember people saying, "Hey, that's Angelina Jolie." I was like, "Yo, word." Bill Burr. So these, and most people who get into aviation, they love it. There's nothing like flying in a small airplane, helicopter. I've jumped out of plenty of airplanes. I have hung on the ropes below helicopters when I was in my time in the Army, done all kind of crazy stuff. But that type of freedom in America is unique to the world. There's very few places in the world where you can just get into your airplane and fly. You can do that here in America. There's very few places in the world where you can just go to the store and buy yourself a rifle or a shotgun or whatever. Very few places in the world you can do that. You do that here. It is what it is. So yeah, I guess that's a segue into what we came to talk about. We're going to talk about these weapons and what people are doing with these weapons. Brother Dino, yes, I seen it. It's nuts. Runway to your house. Yeah, like the taxiways go right up to your house. You just taxi out to the runway, take off. And most of those air park type deals, they're uncontrolled. In other words, there are no air traffic controllers there. So the pilots talk to themselves. What do we call it? Unicom in the FA. Well, that's what they call it. I'm retired now. I'm an old rusty controller. I'm a relic now. You know what I mean? They put me out the pasture. But the pilots talk to themselves. They just kind of taxi out. They see each other. Those communities are very, very, very tight. When they're out there, they're ready to take off. Well, before they even take off, they're ready to taxi. They get in the airplane. Like, hey, this is Cessna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm at spot 6, or I'm at my house, or I'm at whatever. I'm taxiing out to runway 12 for departure. And then anybody who's out there, like, hey, Cessna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is Cherokee 331. I'm taxiing out here now. I'm just about at the end. I'm taking off for 12. And then other people be flying around. Like, so you're taxiing up, you taxi out to your runway, and you sit there. You're like, hey, Bob, hey, Jim. They just, cool. They do their checks and everything, make sure the engine and everything is good, warm up all the oils and all that good stuff. Go through their checklist. Always have a checklist, people. If you're a pilot, always have a checklist. Some of y'all need a checklist just to start y'all car, but always use your checklist in aviation, guys. Always, always, always never skip the checklist, and always keep all of your safety flags and all that stuff, your control blockers. Make sure you have those big flags on there. Don't take those off, people, because I can tell you some story about folks who took shortcuts and they're no longer with us. So now you're out there, you're sitting at 12. Hey, this is Cessna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, runway 12. We're about to depart. We'll be a right crosswind departure for, and then there's whatever the airport is called. Let's call it my airport traffic. And then someone out there be like, hey, this is Mooney. 387, we're inbound. We're going to be left traffic. We see you out there. I don't see anything else in your way. You guys have a good flight. And okay, it's Cessna Mooney 385. Okay, it's just Cessna 345. Taking the runway, departing right crosswind 12, and then and then they'll unkey and take off, and they go. So the pilots control themselves. If there's any situations, they'll work it out. Want to wait? Like, okay, I'll wait for you to land, and then let me know when you're clear. And the pilot will land on the runway. I'm landing 12. Okay, I'm clear. And then whoever's waiting to go, remember we got that Cherokee out there, 331. That Cherokee 331, we're ready to go. We're going to be a left downwind departure. We see you out there in the left downwind. Hey, why don't you extend your downwind a little bit before you turn base, and I can get out of here before you land. And the Mooney will be like, yeah, that sounds great, man. I feel like flying a little extra anyway. You going? Yeah, I'll go ahead and give you plenty of room. And Cherokee takes the runway. He takes off, does his left downwind departure. Now, I know it's a lot of technical terms in there. For me, it's just English. But one day I'm going to do an air traffic control show, and I'll break down all that stuff so you understand exactly what I said: right crosswind, right downwind, extend, base. Everything means something, and every word is important. But that's how they do it in the uncontrolled airports. They kind of control themselves, and then you get those airports get really, really busy. Now pilots can't control themselves. You need a controller to do it. And then that's where people like me came in. So yeah, one day I will do a show about air traffic control. I'm going to get one of my buddies up here and talk. I'll find another one of my retired buddies. I got plenty of them. Controllers are retiring every single day. This is why they're hiring. Those people out there, hey, we told you guys about the air traffic control opportunity was closed. They only had that opportunity out there for a few days. It's closed. I hope you guys watched that video. I hope you guys put in your applications, your paperwork. I know 2 people who did, and I bet you they get hired. Those guys, they're two brothers of the New Templars, 2 of my knights, and I bet you they both get hired. Brother Dino, what were the stress levels, Brother DL? Air traffic, extremely high. Extremely high at my airport. Where I worked at Van Nuys, where I spent the majority of my time, extremely high. Miami, oh my God, the stress level in Miami was real high too, but for different reasons. If you go to busy airports, there's going to be a lot of stress, but the stress is for different reasons, and it depends on what type of air traffic control you're doing. So certain things in let's say en route, which is like the center guys, like the controllers who handle the airplanes where they're at their altitude, flying around, they're at 2,000, 22,000, 26,000 feet, just kind of flying around. Things that stress them out won't stress a guy out who works in the tower. Things that, like the tower things come way close. The rules are different. And then in a TRACON, again, there's certain things that won't bother a TRACON controller, but it will bother a tower controller. It's weird. But yeah, the stress level was high, bro. I'm not even going to lie to you. It was high. And I was at Van Nuys when it was at its peak. It was one of the busiest airports on the planet. Even though it was a small airport, it was one of the busiest airports on the planet. I think at its peak, we were number 10 in America of all the airports. I mean, all of them, not little bitty, no, of all the airports, based on traffic, we were the 10th busiest. I think that was the peak, 10th busiest when I was there. We were tied with Miami International Airport back then. They were busy too. And they were radar. They did TRACON, like they did radar and tower stuff. We were the towers, like Miami Tower and Van Nuys Tower, were like tied that one year. And I think that was the busiest that I knew for Van Nuys. Maybe we're busier back in the day, and I think they were, but in the traffic we had to deal with was very complex. You're mixing in, you got these slow airplanes, you got these medium to fast airplanes, then you have these jets, and then you have super fast jets. People in Van Nuys had a lot of money. There were rich people out there who had private fighter jets, bro. They own fighter jets. Michael Dorn, that's another actor who flew. He might still fly. He had his own fighter jet. He had a Sabre. He had an F-86 Sabre. He would just fly that thing around. I thought it was cool. The Top Gun movies, the original Top Gun movies, the airplane that Viper was flying around in, that airplane lives at Van Nuys, at least it used to. So it was all kind of just, aviation is just such a great thing, but mixing in these fighter jets that are flying around with pilots who are just wealthy. You don't know how much time, flight time they have. You don't know how many hours or how experienced they are. Mixing them in with little bitty airplanes, biplanes, home built experimental airplanes and jets. That was just so hard. It was like playing 3D chess, bro. It was hard. Mental gymnastics every single day. And then you add in factors like weather, windy conditions, random stuff. You get crazy people that break on, manage to get onto the airport with their vehicles and like they're chasing demons and they're trying to run over airplanes with their trucks. That happened. Like there's crazy stuff will happen all the time. So man, it was tough. It was tough. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm glad I'm retired. Brother Mandrell's in the house. What's good, fam? How you feeling? Brother Dino, today I messaged you on Shorts about a new pilot center coming, but word, I'm gonna have to find that. I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to look that up, bro. Did you just do it? I'm seeing some messages come through. I'm in the CEO network, bro. It's a lot of messages to come through on that. So I started getting I stopped looking. So I'm looking now. I'll check, bro. I will definitely check and look that up. Pilot Center coming to Tampa. I wonder what that's about. I'll definitely look it up, man. Appreciate that. I'm amazed at how much you know about what's going on over here, man. And I know nothing about what's going on over there. I got to get up to speed, bro. Got to get up to speed. So, let's get into this. Like I said, we got a video where Patrick Bet-David talks about the truth about gun control. But before we get to that, let's look in on this article. This is Associated Press. This came out today. And I read this earlier and I was just thinking, wow. Stalled gun bill advances in Texas after new mass shootings. All right. So you see stuff like this and, unfortunately it's these people, politicians playing politics, it is what it is. This is out of Austin. Facing new pressure over gun violence in Texas after two more mass shootings. Republicans on Monday unexpectedly allowed a bill that would raise the purchase age for semi-automatic rifles from 18 to 21 to advance out of a House committee, even though the proposal has almost no chance of becoming law. So this is in Texas. This is the Texas State House. And you guys know, for those who don't know, Texas real staunch on Second Amendment rights. And there's a law out there apparently that wants to raise the age of the purchaser of a semi-automatic rifle from 18 to 21. Apparently that's gotten nowhere, and now they've allowed it to move forward, even though there's no chance of it ever becoming law, according to this article. The surprise move revealed faint momentum for gun control advocates after a weekend mass shooting at an outdoor mall near Dallas, but at the same time underscored how Texas Republicans are so resistant to gun restrictions that even clearing a small legislative hurdle caused supporters to celebrate. So this is, to me, this looks like smoke and mirrors. This looks like smoke and mirrors. This is, it was such a horrific event, what happened, and yeah, it is what it is. You would just, you just wonder what's going to happen. Sister Candace is in the house. What's good, sis? Good to see you. Good to see you. Sis, there was something I wanted to say to you, and I cannot remember what it is. Hopefully, my old brain will remember what it was I wanted to say to you, but I can't remember now. We'll see. Yesterday we had a show. We had Shushu on there. Brother Mandrell's sister was on the show. It's a pretty good show, Sister Candace. Just check it out if you get a chance. I am still working to put together an all-female panel and definitely want to have a show because I really want to know the female side of all this manosphere stuff. I want to hear what they're saying. I want to hear what they're seeing out here. Shamaria is a really good example because she's a single modern woman living in New York. She's really cool, really beautiful, really nice, good upbringing. And she's in the entertainment business as well. So we're always talking about that. She's in front and behind the camera. I'm looking forward to putting that show together. I know she's committed to the show. I'm gonna try to get Suzette Speaks, but she's been so busy lately. But I'm gonna try to get Suzette Speaks. Try to get Miss Globe Girl to show up. She's not committed, but I'm gonna try to twist her arm. We could probably get Miss We probably get Sister Miss AKA Lady to come through and just, have this conversation. Either way, it's going to be a lively chat. I'll definitely let you know when we lock in that date. And as far as Shushu goes, she'll be back Friday. Her and I are going to have a conversation Friday right here at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to talk about the new norm for traditional. Like, should there be a new traditional? I haven't come up with the title yet, but I'll have the thumbnail and all that done by tomorrow, and it'll be up. And you guys see us a lot of thumbnails out there. We have just to do some housekeeping here. We have Mei Ling, which is a YouTuber. She has almost 5,000 subscribers, and she's in the financial space. And I somehow stumbled onto her on her YouTube channel. She seems real cool. I reached out to her. She agreed to come on to the show. We're trying to get her on Sunday. We have the thumbnail out there. And it's basically going to be Finance 101. I'm going to ask her to help me understand what's going on in the financial world. What's up with these regional banks? What's up with corporate, with commercial real estate? What's up with Blackstone? What is the relationship between the Treasury and the Federal Reserve, and then stuff like that? And like I said, I watched her live today. Really cool. She knows her stuff. She really focuses on investments and stuff like that, stocks, bonds, treasuries. She knows all of the stuff. So I'm going to ask her all kind of questions. So that should be a good show. Hope you guys can make it. That'll be Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, Sister Candace, good to see you. Always good to see you. So let's get back to the story. Two Republicans joined the Democrats in a 8-5 vote on the House Select Committee on community safety to advance the bill, which Republican Governor Greg Abbott has previously spoken against. It is unclear when or if the proposal would get a full vote in the Texas House with just a few weeks left to pass any new laws. We both know that's not going to happen. They're not going to pass any laws. I'm just checking out the watches, y'all. We both know that's not going to happen. It doesn't have the support of the legislature, said State Republican Ryan Gillen, who chairs the committee and voted against the measure. So, like the top of the article said, there's no way it's going to get passed, but this is just, maybe this was something out of some heartfelt whatever. Some people just kind of looking at this and they're tired of the carnage. Abbott has shown no appetite for revisiting gun restrictions after 2 mass shootings in the span of a week. The first took place in Cleveland, northeast of Houston, where a man deleted 5 of his neighbors with an AR-style rifle after they confronted him about shooting rounds in his yard. Yeah, I know a little bit about that. It took a couple of days, but they tracked him down and they got the dude. And his wife is actually facing charges for trying to help get him to Mexico. I guess they got her in custody as well. I think they found this guy hiding under a pile of laundry, dirty laundry or something like that. But again, there's something wrong with you up here. If you go grab a weapon, you're out in your front yard or whatever, your backyard, you're out there popping off rounds. That what's wrong with people? It's something up here. People came to ask him to stop. Kids were trying to sleep, and he turned the weapon on them. At least, that's how I understand the story. But the bill that advanced Monday had language for weeks prior to Saturday's shooting that left 8 people deleted at Allen Premium Outlets, a sprawling outdoor shopping center. Before the vote, protesters' chants of "do something" echoed through the hallways of the Capitol in the country's largest red state. Protesters eventually camped outside the House chamber and chanted at lawmakers as they entered. They included several relatives of victims of a mass shooting a year ago at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde. Some of them stood holding photos of their slain children, and some wept following the votes. One of the Republicans who voted in favor of the bill was State Representative Sam Harless, who though his office declined to be interviewed, it is not his intention to capitalize with media coverage on the misery and suffering of those who have lost loved ones in these tragedies for simply voting his heart, his conscience, and his district. Ron Hickman, that's Harless chief of staff, said in an email. So, and there's a video of the Allen shooting, but I'm pretty sure you guys have seen all of that. I know I have. There's a video out there of the gunman pulling up in his vehicle. He just kind of pulled up in the parking lot, and he was right there near the sidewalk, facing the sidewalk. People just walking around, and he got out of his weapon, got his weapon, got out of the vehicle, and just opened fire on those people, those unarmed folks. There's a video out there that shows that. Again, it's just lucky that police officer was close. I guess he was on a unrelated call, or just happened to be close. He heard the firing, he heard the shots being fired, and he ran to the location where he heard the shots being fired, and he engaged and neutralized this crazy man with a gun. So, and for anybody out there who thinks that that's just random everyday kind of stuff, it's not. This police officer is definitely a hero doing what he had to do. If I'm in a firefight, I certainly don't want to go against a man who's carrying a rifle and I'm carrying a pistol, just off rip. And most law enforcement, most cops, they don't fire their weapon a lot. They don't go to the range a lot. That's one of the things that should change. Law enforcement should spend a lot of time on the range. They should get a lot of downtime. This man was the first man on the scene. This police officer came and did what he had to do. He neutralized the shooter. He was able to stop the threat. But unfortunately, there were people and babies among the victims who were just there laying there. And this police officer had to see this, while at the same time scan to see if there were any other threats by himself. He's waiting for backup, and he's looking at these people who were hurt. He needs to help these people. He needs to do something, but he has to secure the weapon, secure the crime scene, make sure that there were no other shooters. He had to calm people down. This one man had to do all this until help arrived. He's probably at work now, doing paperwork or whatever. No, he should be with his family, his loved ones. He should be talking to folks. He should be getting help, and it should all be paid for. This is why law enforcement needs to get paid at least $100,000, no matter where they are. I mean, at a minimum, $100,000. This is why they should train, and this is why they need downtime. This is it. I mean, this is horrific. This isn't an everyday thing. Although people will have you believe it is, this is not an everyday thing in America. This kind of carnage you normally see on the battlefield, you don't see in a mall. So you're going to have to get right. You're going to have to get right. And if he can't overcome this mentally, he should be allowed to retire, full benefits. It's not his fault he had to deal with this. And if he's not right, we don't want him on the street. He could hurt someone, or he can get hurt. This is what I'm talking about. If we're going to get into this conversation, we're going to talk about gun control. We need to talk about mental health. You can't have one without the other. You just can't. Brother Dino Dinosaur, R.I.P. He was deported twice out of the USA. Yeah, man, it's easy to get back into the USA, bro. I mean, it would be impossible to keep people out of this country, man. Even if Border Patrol got everything they could ever wish for, everything on their dream sheet, if they got everything they could possibly wish for, they could possibly hope for, people still would get through that border. People can get through the northern borders. People can come in through the ports. Most of the people who come in here, most of the people who are in the country illegally, they enter legally. Most of those folks who are here illegally enter legally. You go back to Mexico or wherever country you go to, you can get documents to say you're someone else. You can come in with legal documents that are forged. These issues aren't simple. One fix will fix all issues. It's an onion. You got to peel back each layer. And we need real no nonsense, common sense sort of measures to fix these things. We don't need politicians kicking it around. We don't need people trying to get political points. We don't need people trying to stay in their cushy political jobs. We need people who really want to get this done. They really want to fix this. They want to do it because it's right. That's what we need. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a revolving door down there on that Texas border, bro. It's tough. Sister Candace, uh, it appeared as though the gunman had a fair amount of tactical gear on as well. He did, but I don't think he had. I don't know this for a fact, but he had on tactical gear, but I don't know if he had on trauma plates and stuff like that. I don't know to what extent his gear uh helped secure him. I don't, what I mean, I don't know. I didn't, I'm not even looking for stories like that, to be honest with you. I wouldn't even, I just read a couple articles on this thing today. I was kind of staying away from it. But luckily, the police officer who responded had the training to overcome that tactical gear. That officer was able to take care of business. Again, running up into a situation where you was unknown shooters, you just hear weapons being fired, you're running up in there, you're in uniform. People know who you are. The bad guys can just look over and see your uniform. That's it's not like he was plain clothes. That's still scary. And you're going up against an assault rifle. So even with your ballistic equipment on, if you're not wearing a trauma plate, you might as well just be wearing a t-shirt. So I mean, I just want to stress how heroic that police officer is. And I really hope that they look after him and take care of him. Shout out to that brother. Brother Pitney's in the house. Penny Jules, what's good, man? The fact that guns are illegally trafficked in though through the southern border alongside drugs seems to be missing from the discussion. This is a major source of firearms used in the United States. Nah, bro, I think it's the other way around. The drugs come in to America and the money and guns go out. So the like ATF and all those guys, they're trying to keep the weapons in America because those weapons, those really nice looking, high powered, high speed weapons you see in Mexico came from America. So unless I'm wrong, the guns and money go into Mexico and the drugs and illegal personnel, migrants and stuff come north and the guns go south. The guns and the money go south, the drugs go north, along with people trying to get into America. So that's the way I understand it. I could be wrong. Don't hold me to it. But America doesn't need to smuggle weapons in from anywhere. We just don't. We don't need to smuggle the weapons in. We have them. We have plenty of those. There's more weapons in this country than there are people. So and that's big money. The guns go south because that's big money. The cartels, the bad guys, they can't get their hands on enough military grade hardware, so they're buying and stuff. I know a lot of military guys get busted by CID and other military police type organizations because it's the military guys who were selling these weapons to the cartels and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And then Brother Penny's like, yeah, like all contraband, I'm sure they go both ways. Yeah, like, yeah. So the drugs come north, the money and guns go south. And that's, again, the Border Patrol is Border Patrol and ATF and HSI, shout out to Myron Gaines. That was his job. Matter of fact, I'm gonna ask him about that, bro. But I'm almost certain the drugs are going south. And that's what he was down there doing. He was chasing coyotes. He was chasing the people who were bringing in illegal people, human trafficking. He like really did true human trafficking cases. He worked those cases and he worked drug cases. And he talks about that on FEDIT. You guys should check that out, man. Matter of fact, let me pull that up. FEDIT is Myron Gaines' channel on YouTube where he breaks down all these different cases. I think he's talked about his time working HSI and his border stuff. I think he broke it down. It's FEDIT 1811 is the site. And yeah, Myron's doing real good over there, man. He's got 151,000 subscribers. He breaks down all sorts of cases. Quick commercial break for my brother Myron. And yeah, he breaks down all sorts of cases over there on FEDIT. From John Wayne Gacy to like the rappers like BMF, Big Meech and them. He breaks down, he talks about the Italian mafia. He talks about serial killers. He did a show about the Boston bombing thing. He did like shows about King Von, like all of the all of the stuff that's new in the news about rappers, getting deleted or deleting folks or whatever, that stuff he covers, and then he goes back and he covers, like he covered what's the name of the pretty boy that deleted all those women, the serial killer? Um actually got married in court. I forget his name, but he covers all that stuff. So anybody who likes those crime style dramas or whatnot, anything crime, check out Fed at 1811. I know a lot of people like, man, I can't stand Myron Gaines. This is the law enforcement guy. Who better than to break down these cases than a person who actually investigated the cases? And he doesn't just talk about the stuff. He goes and get documentation. He'll get the court records. He'll get the transcripts. He'll get the original how they have the warrants and stuff like that. He'll break down. He'll show you how to read warrants. It's a lot of good information over there. John Wayne Gacy. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Candace. Couldn't think of it. Thank you very much. And Sister Candace said, so many cases covered. Yeah, it's a really good show, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. He breaks it all the way down and gives you a really good idea of how that stuff goes. Recently did a show on I guess it was kind of like a tinfoil hat kind of thing, conspiracy theories revolving around 9/11. He talks about he broke down the Trump indictment. He broke that down. I mean, so anything that's in the news and you kind of want to see what's going on with it from the perspective of the boots on the ground, actually from the perspective of the people investigating said crimes, go check out Fettit. I know he did. He broke down Tekashi 6ix9ine and that whole case and how that went, and he has and a lot of times on those shows that he does, he'll give you some inside information that the mainstream media didn't know about because he was involved. He was working cases that might have been involved with the case that he's talking about loosely. He talks about how he used to run his snitches. He used to talk about how he used to run his cases and break stuff down. I'm telling you, Fed at 1811 is a really good resource if you want to know how law enforcement works it from their angle. And if you want to know how criminals work it from their angle, I might have some people you might want to talk to. They can tell you how they getting down in the streets. You know what I mean? We got Sister Lady Navoa's in the house. What's good, sis? Nah, you ain't late, love. You always on time. Don't worry about that now. We just breaking down this article about some gun control in Texas, which is really no gun control. But so we're going to continue with the article. The push to raise the purchasing age has been led for months in the Capitol by relatives of the 19 children and 2 teachers who were deleted in Uvalde when an 18-year-old gunman with an AR-style rifle opened fire in a 4th grade classroom. And Uvalde is the one where law enforcement was just right outside the door doing nothing. That I did videos on that. That was sickening. That was absolutely sickening. And it's good that law enforcement around the country took notice in any of that anywhere in America. I just can't believe that they did that. They sat there and they listened to those babies get massacred. I just can't. Let me stop thinking about it because I get so upset when I think about it. Max Sergova, whose stepdaughter Ilana was killed at Robb Elementary, attended Monday's rally wearing a shirt with the photo of the girl on with her softball uniform. It happened again, and it's going to happen again and again and again. It happened this weekend in the mall. You're not safe anywhere. It's going to strike again. We just don't know where. I get that they're hurt. I would be hurt too. Yes, it happens. It can happen anywhere. Anything can happen anywhere. Facts. Anything can happen anywhere. These are facts. These are facts. I mean, life ain't safe, bro. I grew up like that. Most people didn't grow up with my kind of background. I grew up in a world where death literally was around the corner. You go walk down the street, turn the corner, you might see somebody getting deleted. You might see one who just freshly got deleted. I talk about this a lot, but that's not the life that the average American lives. I understand that. As an old man, I get it. So now people are dealing with the level of violence and carnage that we dealt with. And these are folks who would never normally have to deal with this sort of thing. So I get where they're coming from. Yeah, it's going to happen again. It's absolutely going to happen again in America. Absolutely. And that was the end of the article. Yeah, it's absolutely going to happen again. I mean, this. I wish I could say it wasn't, but it is going to happen again. We got brother Mike in the house. What's good, fam? I see you. Finally able to catch a live. Hope all is well, Unc. When you come into Dallas, I'll be to Dallas, man, sometime this summer for sure. I'll be there. Hopefully, no later than mid-July. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll come right after the 4th of July weekend. But I'm definitely coming to Dallas. Brother Paul Bennett with the $5 super chat, man. I appreciate you, bro. Peace, brother. Saying thanks for taking this on. Yeah, man, this is a tough one to take on, bro. I mean, because I get everyone's side on this. I do. I get it. But there's not, I mean, honestly, there's not much we can really do about this. That doesn't mean we sit down and do nothing. Right? That does not mean we sit down and do nothing. So, yeah, we're gonna get into this. Brother Candace, shout out to to brother Paul Bennett for the super chat support. Yes, I appreciate that, man. Every single penny goes to the hookers and cocaine fund, man. I really, really appreciate. Oh wait, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Every dime goes right back into the platform. Every single dime. I'm waiting for some other things to clear up, and then you guys will see. You guys will see where the money is going because you're going to see the equipment. I need to get those wireless mics. You'll see those wireless mics when we're out and about in the trenches talking to people in no man's land. You'll see I'll be taking this equipment with me. I'm putting together a portable kit. So when I do take trips to Dallas or Miami or New York or wherever I go, I'll still be able to set up and bring you some lives from wherever I am. And that's going to be fun. You know, even if I'm not just kicking it, you'll be able to see it. So trust me, every single dime that we get through on this platform, we reinvest into the platform. So I definitely appreciate you. And there's the Cash App there. If people want to use it instead, I know a lot of folks prefer the Cash App because YouTube gets into your pockets on the super chats. But I'm just glad you guys are supporting. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Brother Vikings in the house. What's good, fam? That's right. With Overwatch in the cloud, Sister Candace, you will be unable to push the age of purchasing back so long as 18-year-olds carry guns in the military. And in some areas, there is push for recruiting police officers at age 18 instead of 21. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. And that's why, the Republicans are like, look, we'll give them this because they know this in Texas, that's not going to happen. I mean, I was 18 years old and I was trained on all sorts of weapon systems. So let's start there. Before we get into Patrick's video, which we're going to get into next. Again, shout out to PBD Valuetainment. Before we get into that, I don't have a problem with adding restrictions to 18-year-olds. Because what you said, sis, was absolutely right. 100% correct. I was 18 years old being trained on all sorts of weapon systems. We're talking about everything from 9mm, M16, the M203, the grenade launcher, M60 machine gun, the M1 50 caliber machine gun, SAW. I was trained on a lot of weapon systems. The Mark 19 automatic grenade launcher. I began getting most of this training. Most of those weapons I was trained on, grenades, claymores, very, very dangerous tools of war. Was 18 years old, but I got a lot of training. So I wouldn't be opposed to a law that says, fine, you can purchase weapons at 18. However, you have to go through this training program. You have to, you must get, check off this training. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. At 18, at age 21 and over, you don't have to necessarily go through this additional training. But I think everyone should have to go through some form of training to get a firearm. I think it should be mandatory firearms training, period. But these are the sort of things that the elected officials should be talking about, and quite frankly, maybe not push back on. But it is what it is. Up the mic, brother Mike, with the $5 super chat. I appreciate that, fam. Appreciate that. Sounds like a plan. Keep dropping fire content. See you soon. Yes, sir. I'll be out there, man. Trust me, man. Brother Griot's out there filming all that stuff he filming. Every time I see one of his posts, I'm like, yeah, I need to be out there in Texas. boy, sheesh. Isn't that what Fresh says? Sheesh. Brother Von Bryant's in the house. What's good, fam? Good to see you. So glad you came through. Always a pleasure to see you. Greetings, peace, joy, and grace. Your gift will definitely make room for you, sir. Hey, man, appreciate that, man. I do truly appreciate each and every one of y'all coming through. Sister Candace, many states also have open carry laws and or the ability to conceal a weapon without a license. Yeah, Florida just recently did that. I'm not a fan of that. Most law enforcement entities down here aren't a fan of that. The only police officers who seem to be backing this play by Governor DeSantis are the ones who are elected into their office. But all of the cops, the people who just professional law enforcement, they don't like it at all. I mean, it is what it is. You know, it it is what it is. What are we gonna do? It is what it is. So, but these are the kind of things that I'm up for. We can sit around and have discussions about this. Let's really talk about it. This video we're about to watch, Patrick Bet-David, really, his team put together a really good video. It's about 20 minutes. We're going to watch, well, I'm sorry, it's about 18 and a half minutes. We're going to watch about 15 minutes of it. This video, I mean, it's about 9 months old, almost a year old, this video. So this came out after Uvalde, but it really doesn't matter. Uvalde, Allen, Louisville, it's so many of them. Sandy Hook. I mean, it's just too many of them. But at least with this video, you're going to get an opportunity to see some real numbers. To see some real numbers. Brother Pitney Jules is saying Florida just passed constitutional carry effective July 1st. Wow, I'm not aware of that. I'm gonna have to holler at Jay Swans because he watches this like a hawk. Now, constitutional carry, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, constitutional carry is kind of like open carry, isn't it? You can just carry the weapon. You don't have to cover it. You don't need any licenses or anything like that. So if I wanted to carry my pistol, I can just have on a shoulder rig and just have the pistol right here. Because currently I have a concealed carry permit and my weapons are concealed while I carry them. But I think the constitutional carry, you don't have to do that anymore. Brother Viking Paradigm, more guns equal less gun crime versus less guns equal more gun crime. Some reasons why these ill folks keep targeting gun-free zones. Yeah, and that's, yes, sounds like you may have seen this video, bro. Brother Pat is about to break down all that. He has the stats, he has the numbers. And as a matter of fact, let's get right into it. But I hear you, Brother Viking. Most places, when people know everyone has a gun, those places tend to be pretty friendly. Because you're sitting there thinking, like, I think that guy has a weapon. So let's check this out.
So the president just signed a bipartisan Safer Community Act in reaction to the events, the tragic events that took place in Uvalde. But the interesting thing is when you break down the act, we'll get into it, none of it would have prevented the shooter from doing what he did in Uvalde. So why are we thinking like we finally solved the solution? So I said, listen, let's come up with some data because people lie, numbers don't. Let's look at the data. Let's look at some stats. Will we find one stat that will say, here's what will tell us part of the story? Because some of the stuff they can do, maybe it would have prevented 1% of mass shooting, maybe 3%, maybe 5%. But we're looking at what could have prevented 90% of the mass shooting. So here's what we're going to look at. Timeline of gun control in U.S., what the average American gun owner looks like, highest gun owning state, lowest gun owning state, number of guns purchased last year, gun ownership by firearm type, what solutions work, and what.
So right off rip, he's coming with the fire. He's coming with the fire, guys. So I like these points he has, and he's going to cover each and every point. I agree with Pat on every point except for the last one. He's going to get to the last one, and it's not that I disagree with it, but I have just a little bit of pushback on the very last one. What the average gun owner looks like in America. That's going to be a good one. Highest gun owning state, the lowest gun owning state, number of guns purchased in 2021. Remember, this is about a year ago. He did this about a little over 9 months ago. Gun ownership by firearm type. What solutions work? What solutions don't work? So yeah, and then Brother Pitney No constitutional carry means you don't need to have a permit. Legislation does not allow for open carry. Okay, just to make sure. And I think you corrected me on this before. I know someone corrected me on this before because I always get the two conflated. Open carry versus constitutional carry. Okay. And Pat's about to run down the timeline of all these different laws and when it happened and all that good stuff. So yeah, let's check this out. Here we go.
What solutions don't? So let's get right into it. So let's take a look at what the average American gun owner looks like. In America, we have the most guns per capita, roughly 400 million guns we own, which is like 120 and a half per 100. But here's what it looks like. 74% of the time, it's a male. 82% white, 31% married, 40% have children, 44% of them live in the South. 30% of the time, they're between 50 to 64 years old, lives in a suburban area, 45% of the time. 28% of them have a college degree. 48% of them are politically independent. 51% of them are Republican. 48% own guns for protection. 32% own it for hunting. 79% believe owning a gun makes them safer.
Wow. He's coming hard with the facts, yo. He's coming hard with the numbers. 45% of gun owners live in a suburban area, almost half. 28% of college degree, 48% politically independent, 51% are Republican, 49% of gun owners are Democrat. 48% owns guns for protections, 32% for hunting, that's 32%. 79% believes owning a gun makes them safer, 79% in favor of background checks. Yes, I think most people are in favor of background checks. And I wanted to get back, I wanted to back it up a little bit to the first part there. I'm trying to back it up. It's so hard to get this. There you go. And here it is right here. 74% of gun owners are male, 82% are white, 31% are married, 40% have children, 44% live in the South, 30% is between 50 and 64 years old. These are the people who are, they're buying guns. These are the people buying guns. Let's continue. Here we go.
Percent believe owning a gun makes them safer, and 79% of them are in favor of background checks for private and gun show sales. So now that we know the proponents of gun control and the opponents of gun control, and we know the profile of what a gun owner looks like, let's see the timeline of gun control in America. 1791, the Bill of Rights, including the Second Amendment, gains final ratification. The Second Amendment reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. 1837, Georgia passes a law banning handguns. The law is ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court and is thrown out.
Yo, did y'all know that going back to 1830s, that they were trying to ban handguns? Wow, I didn't know that.
1865, in a reaction to emancipation, several southern states adopt black codes, which, among other things, forbid black persons from possessing firearms.
I wonder why they didn't want us to have firearms. You think black folks were a little upset about that whole slavery thing?
1871, the NRA is organized around its primary goal of improving American civilians' marksmanship in preparation for war. 1934, the National Firearms Act of 1934, regulating the manufacture, sale, and possession of fully automatic firearms like submachine guns, is approved by Congress. 1938, the Federal Firearms Act of 1938 places the first limitation on selling ordinary firearms. Persons selling guns are required to obtain a firearms license at an annual cost of $1 and to maintain records of the name and address of persons to whom firearms are sold. Gun sales to persons convicted of felonies were prohibited.
Something to keep in mind, too. That's 1938, guys. That was during the Great Depression. So $1 was a whole lot of money. So I bet you that got a lot of pushback. But basically, poor folks had a hard time getting guns because they can come up with $1. On the other side, rich folks and gangsters, they had plenty of money. So they had no problem getting around these rules or whatever. And they would easily get somebody else to get the guns for them. I know Bonnie and Clyde, most of the gangsters, but we'll use Bonnie and Clyde as an example. They always were riding around with military grade. They had BARs, you know what I mean? They had Thompsons. They had shotguns, high powered rifles. People would buy those things for them or bring them to them. Like, the gangsters would give you the money. You go off and buy the guns and bring them back. So this isn't a new thing, y'all.
1968, the Gun Control Act of 1968 is enacted for the purpose of keeping firearms out of the hands of those not guilty entitled to possess them because of age, criminal background, or incompetence. 1972, ATF is created, listing as part of its mission the control of illegal use and sale of firearms and the enforcement of federal firearm laws. The ATF issues firearm license and conducts firearms license qualifications and compliance inspections. 1997, the U.S. Supreme Court, in the case of Prince versus the United States, declares the background check requirement of the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act unconstitutional. Florida Supreme Court upholds the jury's $11.5 million verdict against Kmart for selling a gun to an intoxicated man who used the gun to shoot his estranged girlfriend. November 12, 1998, Chicago files a $433 million suit against local gun dealers and makers, alleging that oversupplying local markets provided guns to criminals.
Yo, the one before that, when the dude sold a gun to a drunk guy and he walked out and he deleted his girlfriend. Yeah, again, common sense. Like, man, don't do that. You can't sell him a whiskey, but you can sell him a pistol, bro. And then this whole 1998 thing. Chicago's been fighting gun violence forever. This $433 million lawsuit against local gun dealers and makers alleging that they oversupplying local markets, providing guns for criminals. The thing about Illinois, like the biggest problem, Chicago in particular, the gangsters would go to Indiana. The gangsters would go to Kentucky. They'll go to Tennessee. They'll go to Ohio. And they would get their weapons and bring them back. Or there would be regular folks who would just buy these guns and take a trip to Chicago and sell them at 10x, 20x what they paid for it. And you had these gaping loopholes when you go to gun fairs and stuff like that. Registration was like really shady. No one was checking your registration paperwork. So you could just put Mickey Mouse. Like, yeah, man, give me 15 Glocks. And, you sign information, Mickey Mouse or whatever. Like, yeah, I'll take some ARs. I'll take some AKs. I'll take a couple of those shotguns. And they'll, I don't know, you invest X amount of dollars into it. Let's say, I don't know, you spend $5,000. Then you go to Chicago and you can get $5,000 for one pistol. And you got 10 of those. So it was a lot of that going on. Same thing in DC. So closing loopholes are important. And that's something that the politicians should be talking about. They should be talking about this sort of thing. And we'll see what it is. Here we go. Sister Candace. Yeah, I remember when Kmart used to sell guns. Yeah, me too. Back in the day. Sure do. I'm pretty sure I'm older than you. So I remember that. Last good man in Jersey's in the house. What's good, fam? What up, DL? Stopping by to show some support. Appreciate that, bro. Remember, we're going to do that show when you get some time, and we're going to talk about life over there in the Philippines, man. I haven't been in the Philippines yet, but I do plan on going. I have a real good friend of mine, Marite Ligo. She is a Filipino-American. She's an American from the Philippines. Filmmaker, really good friend of mine. Man, she's always working, and I talked to her about it. She actually did a horror film in the Philippines, where her family's from. And she was telling me how beautiful it was. She was over there just scouting locations. I don't know if she ever finished the film, but that's her genre. She does horror. And but she was telling me about this cave she was in. She's like, oh, it's just so beautiful. So I'm going over to the Philippines. I'm definitely going to, when I go, I'm going to tell Marty, and then her and her husband will all go over there and just have a great old time. That's my people. So shout out to Marty. So yeah, man, we got to get together and do that show, bro. Tell me about the Philippines, bro. Brother Viking, some humans are low IQ and think we can put the gun cat back in the bag. We can't. The cat is out of the bag and will never go back in. I'm with you though, bro. In my opinion, most humans are good, so more guns are a good thing. I'm with you on that, bro. Brother Vaughn, he's giving me the copyright disclaimer. Thank you. PBD, I rock with some of his folks, man. So he hasn't got me yet. So I think we're good, but thank you so much, bro. I appreciate that. I need that because I need to add that to my my repertoire so I can put it up there whenever I play these videos. I really do appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. Sister Candace, I used to work at Kmart in high school. Hilarious. Sister Candace was out there running them blue light specials at Kmart. I ain't mad at you. That's what's, but yeah, that's one of if we're gonna talk about guns, we're gonna talk about how to, you know, fix this problem. A lot of that has to do with these big old loopholes that need to be shut down. Is that the problem is these politicians on both sides, instead of fixing the issue, they try to use it as a way to overreach. Quit overreaching. Let's fix the gun law. Let's fix these loopholes. Let's do these common sense fixes and see what happens. But let's continue the video, and because Pat really gets into what type of weapons are used and where these weapons are used when these crimes are committed.
April 20th, 1999, at Columbine High School near Denver, student Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold shoot and kill 12 other students and a teacher and wound 24 others before killing themselves. The attack renews debate on the need for more restrictive gun control. May 20th, 1999, exactly.
I know I keep stopping it, man, but that Columbine thing, them two boys stockpiled weapons, ammunition, and explosives in their parents' home, in their room. How? That's one of those things where it's like, bro, that's just, what are you doing? That's parenting. You know your kids are weird. Why aren't you checking? What are you doing? And no, and that came up. I remember when they were all the investigations about all that, and Bowling for Columbine and all this other kind of stuff. That question kept coming over and people just gloss over it. Well, where were the parents? You were stockpiling weapons, ammunition, and explosives. They made bombs. What were the parents doing? And they don't want to talk about that. I want to say the mom of one of those guys has a TED talk about that very subject. Yeah. That again, we need to parent. That's part of this. This is a real big part of this. You need to parent. Casual Germs in the house. What's good, fam? I used to work at Kmart in high school too. They had me pushing shopping carts. I never worked at Kmart, bro. Y'all remember Gold Circle? I never worked there either. Y'all might not be old enough to remember Gold Circle. Casual Germ continues. I remember guns in the sporting goods section too. Yeah, and ammo. You can go back there and buy all kind of ammo, all that. It wasn't even, when I was a real young kid, the ammo was behind the counter, but it wasn't locked up. It was just stacked up on the shelves behind the counter. You just walk around the counter, go grab you some 12 gauge slugs, go grab you some 30-06. It was all back there. They had hunting rifles and shotguns right out here. I was touching them as kids, just walking around touching them. It was a different world. And Brother Viking, no one talks about the guy that broke the law and sold the guns to them kids, plus the mom and dad that had no clue what their kids were doing. Facts, bro. Facts, bro. Nightis is in the house. What's good, fam? Salute to you, man. Salute. So let's continue with the video.
A month later, by a 51-50 vote with a tiebreaker by Vice President Al Gore, the U.S. Senate passes a bill requiring trigger locks on all newly manufactured handguns and extending waiting period and background check requirement to sales of firearms at gun shows. February 2010, a federal law signed by President Barack Obama took effect, allowing licensed gun owners to bring firearms into national parks and wildlife refuges as long as they are allowed by state law. June 12, 2016, President Obama again calls on Congress to enact or renew a law prohibiting the sale and possession of assault-type weapons and high-capacity ammunition magazines after a man identified as Omar Mateen kills 49 people in Orlando, Florida, gay nightclub on June 12th using an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. In a call to 911 he made during the attack, Mateen told the police he had pledged his allegiance to the radical Islamic terrorist group ISIS. October 1st, 2017, barely over a year after the Orlando shooting, a man identified as Stephen Craig Paddock opens fire on an outdoor music festival in Las Vegas, shooting from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Paddock kills at least 59 people and wounds more than 500 others.
Yo, that one right there, the Pulse shooting one, and was horrific. Again, that was just a crazy guy. All these dudes, all these people with these weapons doing these horrific things have problems. The one in Vegas, though, this guy's a high roller, a big whale in Vegas. He gets this room, he gets the room he wants. He had the perfect view. He was over this crowd, this music festival, and he brought in all these weapons. I don't remember the number, but it was a lot of weapons. They helped him carry, they being the employees, helped him carry these weapons up to the room. And then the only thing that came out of that was, oh, we're going to ban bump stocks, because he had a bump stock, and a bump stock was just a way to take a semi-automatic weapon. It was a cheat code to make it fire as if it were automatic. I don't even know why these people want stuff like that. It's just dumb to me. I tell these guys all the time, you want to fire a fully automatic weapon, join the United States military, preferably the Army and the Marine Corps. You're going to get to fire plenty, bro. You're going to get to fire. And matter of fact, you all who they're going to send you somewhere where somebody's firing back. So that changes your whole outlook. These dudes, boy, I tell you what. But anyway, that's all I remember about that Vegas thing. Bump stocks. Talking about bump stocks. Like, what? Bump stocks? We're not going to do anything about him pulling this stuff in. I mean, crazy, y'all. Crazy. We could do stuff about this, man. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know, y'all. I'm just sitting here scratching my head right now. I just don't know. Sister Candace, it was a different world. You could take a note from your parents to the corner store and buy cigarettes. Yep, you sure could. You sure could. I mean, the corner stores in my neighborhood, you didn't even need a note. I could go to the corner store and buy beer, buy, wine at cheap wine. I was doing that all the time. I was doing that at 12, 13, 14 years old. They're like, man, you look like you grown. Like, no, I don't. I'm 12. Walk in there and buy a bottle of Cisco, buy a bottle of Wild Irish Rose. They're just looking at me. I'm like, what, bro? I'm only little. You know what I mean, Brother Viking and Sister Candace? No, many laws were broken. More laws would have done nothing to stop Columbine. Facts. Columbine was just a failure of parents. And again, these boys had issues. You got these two guys, you know what they were doing. They had the signs. No one did anything about it. You know what I mean? It's like they acted, but it was too late. Them boys went in there and did what they did. And they enjoyed it. Brother Vaughn, Wild Irish Rose, yes, sir. I told y'all I'm old. I remember when they made Cisco in the long neck bottle. I remember when Boone's Farm first hit the shelves. Malt Duck. You know what I mean? All that stuff, bro. I'm saying, man, 40s was a thing back then, bro. The 80s was crazy. Let's continue.
August 12, 2019, President Trump voiced his support for the red flag gun confiscation laws. We must make sure that those judged to pose a grave risk to public safety do not have access to firearms, and that if they do, those firearms can be taken through rapid due process, he said. So Barack Obama is saying you ought to have permission to take guns and wildlife, and Trump is saying due to red flag laws, we should confiscate. Shouldn't be the other way around. It's kind of interesting, right? How you're going through this, reading history, you're realizing maybe both sides can reason if they're willing to get into a room and talk. So now let's look at what states have the most gun owners. I'll give you top 5 on each side. On the least gun owners, number 1 is Jersey, 14.7%. Then it's Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Hawaii, New York. Matter of fact, I'll give you 5 more. Connecticut, Illinois, California, Maryland, Delaware is in the top 10 least gun owning states, with Florida being at number 11. And the most gun ownership in America, number 1 is Montana, then it's Wyoming, Alaska.
He said number 11 least gun owning state is Florida. And Florida is one of the most restrictive gun owning states. That thing that he was talking about with Trump, in Florida, law enforcement can, and they do, take your weapons. You do something, if people like something wrong with him, he ain't quite right, you do something crazy, stupid, dumb, and they come and take your weapons. They say, oh, you got weapons? They come and get them. Now, you can get them back, but they make you go through a process, which they should. Florida, dark red state. So if Florida's doing this, what's going on with the rest of the country? You know what I mean? So I just thought that was, I was like, see, we can go back here and find the least. States with the least gun owners. Right, so let's go all the way back to, because there's a lot of states. Let's see if we can. States with the least gun owners right here. Number 1, New Jersey, 14.7%. Massachusetts, 14.7%. Rhode Island, Hawaii, New York. So 4 out of the top 5 East Coast, and then you got Hawaii. And then it continues, which, you know, trying to find it. And it continues 6 through 11. You got Connecticut, Illinois, California, Maryland, Delaware, and Florida. Florida being number 11. That blew me away. I thought for sure Florida would be on the side of the most gun owners. But hey, these are this is why you need numbers. You know what I mean? Like, all right, here we go. This is why you need numbers. And he's gonna roll into the states with the most gun ownership. So let's check this out.
Gun owning states, with Florida being at number 11. And the most gun ownership in America, number 1 is Montana, then it's Wyoming, Alaska, Idaho, West Virginia at the 5th spot.
You know what I mean? Look, and Brother Von's like Wild Irish Rules, yes, sir. Brother Viking like Boone's Farm. I remember Strawberry Jubilee, bro. Boone's Farm, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Brother Mandrell's in the house, man. I think you some horns. I get you anyway. You sound like a liberal. Sometimes I am. I'm liberal about some things. I'm very conservative about others. When it comes to this, I don't have a problem with people having to go through some sort of training. We haven't gotten to that part yet, but I don't have a problem with law enforcement coming to take your pistol, man, if you out here doing crazy stuff. You know, if you out here doing dumb things, if you're out here making threats, I don't have a problem with that. Learn how to control your emotions. You out here making threats. And it's not like they keep them forever and put you on a blacklist. They make you go talk to some people. You finish their little program, they bring you your weapons back. And I think there's a time limit on it too. I want to say it's like 30 days, maybe 60 days is the max that they can keep them. I don't see anything wrong with that, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, but let's continue.
So listen, either these stats are going to get you to say, I want to move to Montana, maybe Wyoming, maybe I'll go to Florida, number 11, or you're going to say, oh, I don't want to be in a place where people own guns. Maybe go to California, maybe go to New York, maybe go to Hawaii, maybe go to Jersey, number 1, compete for least amount of people owning guns, but the choice is yours depending on which side you lean. However, here's some stats. With all the talks about gun control coming up, 2020 was the record-breaking year for the most background checks ever done in the history of America, and 2021 was the second highest year in the most background checks ever done in America. So a lot of these stats may be just stats I've been giving you, but this next stat could be the one that's going to get you thinking. When I watched the movie Moneyball with the story of Brad Pitt, that he's playing the story of Billy Beane, I brought Billy Beane to 3 events because the way they broke down what the most important stat in baseball was on-base percentage, not home runs, not hits, not doubles, not triples, not pitching, on-base percentage, and they built this team that broke the record. They won 21 games in a row. Nobody could believe Oakland, smallest budget in the MLB, was beating the Yankees. So, you ready for the stat? Here's what it looks like. According to the Crime Prevention Research Center, gun-free zones, areas where guns are prohibited, have been the target of 94% of all mass shootings.
This is what Brother Viking was talking about right there, yo. Right there. 94% of the time, the target area is a gun-free zone when these people who need help decide to act. 6% of the time, they go into a non-gun-free zone. Why is that? Why is that? Because even the person who ain't right in the head understand if I go into a gun-free zone, that means the law-abiding citizens who have weapons will not bring their weapons to the gun-free zone. That's what that means. So I'm going to go there. Soft target. I'm going to go there. So that's what it is. Brother Penny, don't be fooled. Florida's still the gunshine state. Hey, man, hey, it's funny when I go places, you know, like I said, I'm always armed. But when I'm out and about, most of the people that are out that I see are out. They're not armed. They're not armed at all. And I carry legally. I don't carry my weapon in the places where I'm not supposed to have my weapon and everything. I follow the rules. Why? Because I am a law-abiding citizen. Brother Viking, 100% on point. Yep, you talked about it earlier. Sister Candace, they don't want the smoke. Exactly. They don't want the smoke, but they want to go out here and they want to hurt innocent, unarmed people. They want to take advantage, full advantage of the system. Why? Because they're operating outside the law. They're illegal. So at the end of the day, it don't even matter what the restrictions are and what the laws state. You decide to go do something illegal, you're going to do it. you're gonna do it. There are more guns in this country than people. It's not, it might take you a little bit longer to find what you're looking for, but you're gonna find it. If you got the money, somebody gonna sell it to you. I mean, Brother Viking, they never attack the strong, they attack the weak. Facts. Facts. They ain't running up in the police station like the Terminator. They're not doing it. Let's continue.
Let me say this one more time. Areas where guns are prohibited, 94% of all mass shootings have been in those areas, which means only 6% have been in areas that are not prohibited, where somebody can have a license to carry. The criminals don't want to go shooting there because they know somebody has a gun. But in areas where people don't have guns, they're like, I'm going to feel more confident, go to this area. 94%. The staggering number is why such designated areas are referred to as soft targets, meaning unprotected and vulnerable.
There it is right there. You can't put it any plainer. And these people, something ain't right with them. So they know where to go. They know how to read. They know where it is. They see the signs. They know where to go. This is what it is. Now, people's like, well, you know, still 4% of the time. Yeah, 4% of the time they're going to run up in wherever they're going to run up in. I'm not certain, but Texas has very, very liberal concealed carry laws and stuff like that. I think they have constitutional carry there as well. That mall should have been in the 4%. I don't think that mall was a no-go for weapons. So again, you would think someplace like Texas, there'll be more armed people. Didn't look like anybody was armed. I mean, it didn't look like it. So, you know, again, thank goodness that law enforcement officer was there, that police officer, that sheriff, or whoever he was, thank goodness he was nearby, because the numbers would have been way higher if he wasn't.
94% of shootings has happened in a gun-free zone. Could that 94% change if those areas became an area where people can have a license to carry? Would the criminal and the shooter say, I'm going to be thinking twice before I go into this movie theater or this church or school because somebody may be carrying? I'm not going to mess around. Maybe, maybe not. I think the answer is yes. And by the way, do you hear when they say mass shooting? Mass shooting. 293 mass shooting in 2022 as of June 28th. And we're like, oh my gosh, so many mass shootings. What's going on here? I don't remember the numbers being this big. Well, they don't tell you the definition. Mass shooting is when 4 or more people got shot in one incident, but nobody died. A mass murder is when 4 or more people died in a shooting, okay? So which number is more scary, 293 or the number for mass murder in 2022 as of June 28th is 14. Now, 14 is a big number, period. 1 is too many numbers that we have, but 1 scares people. 14 doesn't scare you. If we say 293, you're like, that's so many of them. But 14, that's not marketing when they talk about numbers, right? Having said that, let's take a look at what's in.
He has a really good point there. When he said that, I'm like, wow, you know, those are 2022 numbers. 14, I believe we're over that mark now for mass deletions in 2023. I'm almost certain we're over that mark, especially with this last one here in Texas. But I mean, I could be wrong. But here's the thing: we know that's not going to be the last one. Allen, Texas is not the last one. So when the next one occurs, it's definitely going to push us over that mark for mass deletion. But the mass shooting thing, he has a good point, Brother Paul. But if someone goes on mass shooting, they know the outcome will have them outnumbered by law enforcement, possibly ending their lives, unless the officers are from Uvalde. Good point. Like the other one in Texas where the guy was, deleting, popping at his neighbors, deleting his neighbors, he got away. There were a couple other ones. There was another one, I think it was in Texas as well. This was execution style, and that shooter got away. Then there was the one in Atlanta in the bank. No, in the doctor office or hospital or something like that. And I think there was 4 women deleted, but multiple, more was shot. He got away. And it took some hours, maybe a day to get him. So the soft target, you can get in there, do your damage, and get out of there before law enforcement shows up. Law enforcement will be over here trying to secure this area. Meanwhile, you're miles and miles away. But I think a lot of these people, because they need help, they don't plan on getting away with this carnage. They know people are going to come. It's just maybe they also know, like, I have a better chance of not running up against someone with a weapon if I go into one of these no-go zones. But I feel you, Brother Paul. Brother Viking, this is one of the main reasons why I homeschool. They won't protect my son. I won't ever trust a system like this. I think about it every day, bro. Every day I drop my daughter off for school, I kiss her, and on her forehead, she gets out. I tell her I love her, and I wonder, like, will I see her? Like, it will just, and that's it's crazy, bro. It is crazy. I think about it all the time, man. Like, bro, I'm serious. I don't know. But you keep them home from school. But hey, this last one, man, they were just in the mall. They were in the discount mall thing. You know what I mean? They're in the mall, just walking around, and they got chopped up. The one in Louisville, they were in the bank. Dude, come to the bank, you get chopped up. The one in Atlanta, they're in a hospital or the doctor's offices. Dude came in there and got chopped, chopping people up. Brother Pitney, gang violence inflates the mass shooting statistic. Those statistics still count instances where there are people returning fire. Okay, yeah, you do have that. Tez the favorite guy, Brother Tez up in here. What's good, bro? Good to see you, fam. Shout out to you, player. Good to see you, man. I'm glad you popped in for a hot second. You know what I mean? Always a pleasure to have you. Dino, the Texas Mall security guard was deleted. Yeah, and unarmed. He was unarmed. That's another thing too. These people take these security guards, these jobs, man, minimum wage, walking around with a shirt that says security. That they're not armed. They're not trained to deal with this sort of thing. He just happened to be there, wrong place, wrong time. That's terrible, man. It's just absolutely terrible. Your heart goes out. What is he gonna do? All he can do is throw his body on top of someone or try to, charge the guy. But you stand no chance. You stand no chance. It's just horrific.
In this bipartisan Safer Community Act. So here's what's in the bill. Number one, $750 million to help states implement and run crisis intervention programs. This money can be used to implement and manage red flag programs, which are aimed at keeping guns out of the hands of those who pose a threat to themselves or others. Number two, this legislation closes a years-old loophole in domestic violence law that barred individuals who had been convicted of domestic violence crimes against spouses or partners with whom they shared children or cohabitated with from having guns. All statutes didn't include intimate partners who may not live together, be married, or share children. The new bill would bar anyone who is convicted of a domestic violence crime against someone they have a continuing serious relationship of a romantic or intimate nature with from having a gun. Number three, requires more gun sellers to register as federally licensed firearm dealers. Number four, more thorough reviews of people ages 18 to 21 who want to buy guns. The bill encourages states to include juvenile records in the National Instant Crime Background Check system would grant, as well as implement a new protocol for those records. Five, creates new federal statutes against gun trafficking and straw trafficking. The legislation makes it easier to go after those who are buying guns for individuals who are not allowed to purchase weapons on their own. And last but not least, number six, increases funding for mental health programs and school security. The money is directed to a series of programs, many of which already exist, but would be funded more robustly under the new law.
So all that he read right there, all that, this is what they do, man. They go in and they come out with these dumb rules that don't really do anything, but they can say they did something. Remember, we were reading the article about the people in Texas who were in the state house in Texas, and they were chanting inside the state house chambers, do something, do something. Well, we did something. We made a law that says they have to use all caps. When they fill out their application for their weapon, they got to use all caps. We made some changes. We did something. They come up with these stupid rules that don't really do nothing. It's like enhancements on laws that are already on the books that obviously don't work. They're not trying. It's like they're not really trying. What they're trying to do is keep their seat. That's all they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is appease people either on the right or on the left. But what they're really trying to do is appease the people who got them there. The puppet masters who got them there. That's what they're really trying to do. I need to keep this seat because I'm up for re-election and I'm not trying to get primaried out. So even though I am wanting to do something, like I really want to make a difference, I want to stop babies from getting deleted while they're in school, I want to be able to do that. I want to stop babies from getting deleted when they go shopping with their parents. I want to be able to do that. But if I do that, I'm not gonna win the seat. They're gonna oust me. So I'm gonna toe the line. And that's wrong. It's cowardice. It's wrong. It's not why you're there. But people are there for their own reasons, right? So this is politics. This is how it works. Y'all smoke and mirrors. This is how it works. This is how it works. This is what they do. And what are we gonna do about it? Well, I don't know. I don't rightly know. I don't rightly know, but this is what they do. And there was a Korean family, I think a Korean American family. I don't know if they were, or I don't know if they're fresh from Korea. Mom, dad, two kids. Mom, dad, and the youngest kid were deleted. They did not survive the attack. One child did. The oldest child did. And he's 4 or 5 years old, something like that. His family was taken from him with this horrific attack. I hope he has family back in Korea that can, come and get him. But this little boy is alone. His family was taken from him. Right, we got to do something. We got to do something. That's horrific. Here we go. Let's continue.
So which one of these 6 would have prevented Uvalde from happening? $750 million to implement or run intervention programs? No. Closing the so-called boyfriend? No. Requires more gun sellers? No. Number 5, more thorough reviews of those ages 18 to 21. Juvenile record? I don't think he had it. Number 5, creates new federal statutes against gun trafficking? Nope. Increases funding for mental health? How? Maybe not. So again, these are good. It's some progress, but would it have prevented many of these mass murders from happening? So look, at this point, you can say you're for it, you're not for it, but let me give you an idea what markers we're really dealing with when it comes down to gun control. 1 is age, 2 is type of weapon, 3 is training, 4 is background checks, 5 is medical history, what kind of prescription you're getting, 6 is amount of ammunition you can walk away with, type of ammunition you can get, your upbringing and socioeconomic status, meaning were you raised with a father, parents together, married, all that stuff. Next one is police training, because Uvalde could have been prevented due to what the cops would have done. That was on them a little bit on what they did. And last but not least, length of time it takes to walk away and take ownership of your weapon. So let's go through these 18 to 20.
And this is why I have so much respect for Patrick Bet-David and what he tries to do. The brother, I really don't know his stance on this gun issue. I really don't. There's video out here like this. There's other videos out there. He did a video where he was in Texas, just driving through Texas on his way to California, I think. And he wanted to see how easy it would be for him to buy an AR-style weapon. He walked in and he bought one. It took him, I think he had a stop clock on there or something. Like it took like 20 minutes or something like that. Y'all know I network like crazy. I know people who are down with him. I'm hoping that I'll get myself into the room where I'm actually, sitting down and I'll ask him. Like, bro, where do you really stand on this? I'll ask him. I believe he's on the side of common sense restrictions. Let's do something that makes sense. At least that's what it sounds like to me here in this video. So let's continue.
21. I think I'm good with 18. I'm good with 21. That's something that we can hash it out and debate. Next one, type of weapon, semi-automatic weapon. You got, M16s, you got rifles, you got guns. If you were to actually break down what percentage of the shootings were done by semi-automatic weapons or rifles, the number one weapon that they use when they're doing any kind of shootings is a basic pistol that they use, okay? We got 3.
Facts. When you're dealing with folks getting deleted out here in the streets, they're using sidearms, handguns. That's what they're using. They're using these. That's what they're using. They're not running out there with the AKs, the ARs, the HKs, the shotguns. They're not doing it. People don't want to hear that. They just don't want to hear that. Brother Tez, great conversation. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much, man. Sister Candace, problem is we can't agree on what common sense is. Facts. Common sense is not so common. Brother Viking, yup, handguns. You would think that America would come together like, all right, I can see grown-ups getting deleted, whatever. All right, but babies, you would think that, all right, nah, especially after Uvalde. People going after babies, you would think both sides of the aisle could come together on that. Like, nah, bro, we got to do something about this. Like Pat was saying, even if it was just, let's get cops proper training. Right? Let's get law enforcement. Let's get them paid properly. Let's get them downtime. Let's get them properly trained. Let's get them enough time at the range so they can handle these situations. Let's make sure they understand that's why they're there. Let's get them trauma plates if we need them. Let's get them anything and everything that's going to help them do their job, right? Let's put emphasis on, let's bring back and serve and put an emphasis on protect. Let's do all those things. If both sides of the aisles were to do that, if the politician came out and said, this is what we did, I don't care what Black Lives Matter says. I don't care. Oh, you're going to better train law enforcement? Cool. You're going to make it to where people want that job because the pay is going to be so great. Cool. That means you can get the best of the best. You can put them through the paces. And if they got what it takes, then great. They're going to be on the streets, and there's a less chance they're going to make these dumb mistakes, like discharging their weapon at a suspect thinking they were grabbing onto their taser. There's a lot of the bad cops out there are poorly trained. They're not ready for what they are coming up against. But if we pay them properly and we train them properly so they can handle these things, that police officer down there in Allen, Texas, he handled the situation. He got training from somewhere. I haven't looked into it. Wouldn't be surprised if that guy's like former military. He got training from somewhere. That's what it is, Brother Mandrell. That's the problem. They're not using the right tool for the job. Facts. Drop the link. I'll let you know why they won't do anything about it. Absolutely. I'm going to drop the link, bro. I'm about to drop it right now. Let me continue with the video.
More left. One of them is police training. Those police who didn't go in to do their jobs and their captain was telling them not to go in, should be fired. Or the people that didn't go in, there should be some kind of accountability to be in there. I'm not talking about prison time, but I got a job for you because I remember when we're in the military, there was an exercise we did where we had to low crawl and we're going through and they're shooting. It's late at night and it's scary. Some guys couldn't handle it. They stood up. That's a perfect opportunity to tell these guys, military is not for you. Go home. Some people are cops, shouldn't be cops. Some people are teachers, shouldn't be teachers. There's many opportunities when you notice you're just not meant to be a teacher. You don't have the patience for kids. You need to go find a different job. You're not meant to be a cop. You can't handle this kind of pressure. Go to a different job. Now, next.
Facts. Pat's on to something there. But how do you do that? You got to make sure that they get paid a lot. Same with teachers. Teachers should get paid a lot too. They are training, teaching the next generation of Americans. What I've noticed about, I'm just going to say this about education. I'm going to get back on task, on mission. But what I notice about educators is they understand how poor the system is. These teachers are frustrated because the system won't allow them to teach our kids. The system forces them to teach the test so they could get funding for the next year. They're already strained. They're already underfunded. When I talk to these teachers, like, man, I brought it up to some teachers. I said, how come these seniors, these kids, juniors, seniors, they can't name 3 countries on planet Earth? And they're like, because we're not allowed to teach them. We're too busy teaching them how to take this state test, how to take this federal test so we can get money for next year. Man, I wish we could teach them. I wish we could break down and talk about, the oceans and the continents and the seas. Like, I really wish I could. And, it's one of those things. Real quick, what Patrick was saying about in the military, he went through the military about the same time I did. Both of us went through before Brother Mandrell, who we're gonna pull up here in a second. But we had to do that. We had to low crawl, and it was at least 2 football fields length. It might have been longer than that. We're low crawling in the sand. Man, I rubbed my knees and my elbows were rubbed raw, and they were firing live ammo above us. Now, if you stood up and jumped up, you wouldn't have gotten hit. But you can hear these M60s firing. They were firing over our heads. We're low crawling and stuff is blowing up. I crawled right up next to this pit, and this pit was rigged with explosives of some sort, and it blew up, and it was like debris all over me. I'm like, whoa, stay away from them pits. I'm low crawling with my weapon, bro. That was crazy. But I enjoyed it. Oh, that's what I enlisted for. I was at Fort Dix, Georgia. I was at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Right? People in the Army call it Fort Disneyland. That's how easy my basic training was. But that was one of my favorite parts. I'm like, yeah. Then after that, I went to Fort Rucker. Then I went to Fort Benning. Then I went to Fort Bragg. So yeah, I got a heavy dose of the real Army experience after that. But he ain't lying. I mean, it was a lot going on, man. It was a lot. Brother Mandrell's in the house. What's good, fam? How you feeling?
What's going on, DL? You hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and
Yeah.
clear.
I've said this before, but they're not going to get rid of the. They're not going to get rid of guns. They're not going to do any kind of meaningful gun legislation. It's too much of a military deterrent. Again, who is going to invade America or a country, period, where every citizen is allowed to buy as many guns and as much ammo as they like? Everybody's allowed to do it. Who's going to invade?
No, you're right about that.
You know what I'm saying?
Right
Then you have to deal with the National Guard. You have to deal with the active duty army. And let's not forget, people don't know this because we live in America and we're used to it. America is a huge country. Huge. You can fit all of the United Kingdom inside Texas. All of the United Kingdom of Great Britain inside one state. That's a whole country inside one of our states, and we got 50 of them.
Yeah, it's definitely massive.
So if everyone in a country that big, everybody has a gun, what you gonna do?
Well, it's not everyone has a gun, but there's enough guns for everyone to have. There's enough guns for everyone to have.
Exactly. Still, bro.
Yeah, let it go crazy. Let it go crazy, and everybody will get one.
What you gonna do?
One for you. Yeah,
exactly. A country that big and everybody can get as many guns, as much ammo as they want. You fucking with that?
Think about it. 120 guns for every 100 people in America. That's how many guns are in this country that they know about.
That they know about.
There's
not to mention the ones in the Philippines you can get made. Just
they making them right here. They make them.
Yeah, they make them right here. And they make them here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
a real close gun. You can get guns and you can get barrels with no rifling, the whole nine. And then the body armor we sell to just people. There's body armor that you can buy. That the only thing that you can penetrate it is a Barrett 50 cal.
And you can buy one of those.
Yeah, you can buy as many as you want. It ain't but $500.
You can buy Barrett, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can buy a Barrett. Yeah, a Barrett's what, 12, 13,000? It's affordable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
they're affordable.
If you into weapons, that's not bad.
It's not bad at all. Yeah.
For that weapon system. Whew.
Because that SIG I'm about to get, the SIG MCX Spear, that when it first dropped was 10 grand. I said, okay, hold up. I want it, and I want it bad, but not 10 grand worth when I know the price is going to go down. Now the price is going down. I'm like, okay, now it's time to, okay. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm licking my chops like, okay, here we go. If I'm going to spend the 10 grand, I'm going to spend it on the weapon system and the different barrels. There's like 4 different barrels for it, for 4 different calibers. One of those barrels, I can fire rounds that penetrate body armor. And they're not armor piercing rounds. They are by default, but they're not made to. It's just the way the bullets are designed, the trajectory and the speed of the round coming out of the weapon system, the whole 9 yards. And it's a gas piston system, which means it doesn't jam or overheat like the AK.
Hey, y'all, it's something I need to understand. Brother Mandrell he's a special forces weapons sergeant. All right. So you're not gonna know weapons like this man knows weapons. Right? Just don't feel bad because I don't know weapons like this guy knows weapons.
Sorry.
I know weapons.
Right. Listen, it's Christmas for me.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those guys when a shooting happens, I'm like, okay, cool. Time to go shopping. I'm that. I admit, people, I am that guy. What do you want from me? I'm a soldier. What do you want? I am. But here's the thing. No one's gonna do anything of note. Y'all can give it. We can talk about it until we're blue in the face all the live long day. And if they did do something about it, like for real, that's stupid. And the general public should be afraid. You should be afraid. You should be really, really afraid if they do give us meaningful gun legislation and like limit how many we can get or start taking them away, things like that. You should be scared.
Well, because we're gonna hold that thought because I want to catch up with the chat and I want to talk to you about that. Brother Tez is in here. It's like, hey, DL, do you have an Instagram or something? I want to contact with you off air. It's scrolling at the bottom, bro. It's I really want to know podcast, all one word. That's my Instagram. Plus, you and I are on Black Man's chat group on Instagram. I want to say you're on there. Isn't he on there?
Dude, Tez Defy.
I think you're on there, bro. But anyway,
from the that's my podcast.
5100. But that's my I really want to know podcast. All one word. That'll pull me right up on Instagram, fam.
I love
And-
Tez, man. Those guys, both he and CJ. I love those guys, man. Everyone check them out,
and
man.
hit me up, bro. I look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, really good content over there at the 5100 podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna bring him over here, bro. Like I say, man, we could definitely collab on something. You know what I mean? Sister Candace, dereliction of duty is a terrible offense. It should be considered a criminal one, depending on the circumstances. It should be. And she's talking about like with the law enforcement. The thing is this: depending on the organization, what they did in Uvalde might have been what they were trained to do. That's another reason why law enforcement should be trained across the board. You know, and like again, if we're not protecting babies, what are y'all doing? Yeah, we don't even need y'all here if that's the case. Yeah, they were tougher on the parents trying to get in than they were on actually going in there and trying to get the bad guy. Brother Viking, I worked in the school, and my part of my job was to be on good terms with the teachers. I know just how flawed the school system is from the inside. Again, why I homeschool. Hey, I ain't mad at you, brother. And then brother, he's like, yep, the USA is a big place. No one is pulling up on us with force. Facts. Brother Dino, who is our cousin from across the pond, your musket 2 shots in a minute is very different from the AR. Hey, bro, well, still those muskets were still state of the art when they wrote the rules. It didn't matter whether it was a musket, a Gatling gun, or you know what I mean, or a Barrett 50 cal. The spirit of the rule is the same. The reason we have the Second Amendment is to the citizens to protect themselves against a flawed government. That's the reason we have that, so we can form militia. Protecting ourselves come with that. But that's where I am with it. I mean, I don't think citizens should have tanks, although some do. But I don't think citizens should have tanks.
I don't know why you got that.
But
now those are the ones who need to be watched.
Right. You go ahead and watch them.
Yeah, what are you doing? I want to know that, BL. Me personally, I want to know what they doing.
Right. Like, go please keep that on them.
Right.
Who sold them the tank anyway? I don't care.
Yeah, let's find out who that is.
I don't care if it's legal.
Right. Where'd you buy this from? Why did you buy it?
Why did you buy? How'd you get the? You know, I got so many questions. Yeah, brother
how'd
Dino.
you get the money to get this?
Right. Has brother Mandrill met the legend Steve Holland? Who's Steve Holland, bro?
I don't know.
That's a no then. And brother Ted, chill out, Mandrill. You knew that was coming.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Those are my guys, though, man. Tez and CJ. Those are my guys. And Tez, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm gonna hit you up later this week. He reached out to me, and I just been super busy setting up all the back ends for my online fitness and nutrition training. That's what I've been doing, Tez. It's a lot of back end systems to streamline the whole process, and I've had to learn how to use the software. And it's I didn't know it was this much to it, but there's a lot. Customers don't have to deal with that deal, but I do, since I'm the one operating it, and I got to learn the ins and outs of it. But it's worth it.
And it's a reason I'm letting Brother Mandrill say all this, because when he's all set up, I want y'all to go over there. And if you're looking at getting in shape, if you're looking at getting your nutrition on point, holla at this man right here. He is putting it all together. Right now he's taking on clients so he can get you started. The stuff he's talking about is back end upgrades he's doing, because you got to be 4 or 5 steps ahead. Mm-hmm. So, but he already is on point. He does personal training plans and personal nutrition plans for you. And his rates are very, very competitive. In fact, I got mad at him. I'm like, bro, you ain't charging enough. So take advantage now, y'all.
Yeah, like I said, look, I gotta go. After I get so many clients, the price is gonna go up. But I gotta get people in the door, and I gotta get people to do the programs and like do reviews and testimonies and stuff, just to show people that, hey, this system works. This product works,
So y'all, it's time to if y'all's tired of being fat, go holler at Brother Mandrill. He'll get you squared away. And for those of y'all who are into, MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he got something for y'all coming shortly. So just be ready. This man over here is working real hard. Shout out to Brother Mandrill. You know what I mean? That's for you, bro. Here's the thing, man, what I wanted to talk to you about real quick. And because we only have a few more minutes left on the video, so I can save that until we have this talk. But bro, I don't see a problem with training mandates, like qualifying mandates for people who want to carry their weapon concealed. Now, if you just want to buy your weapon and leave it at home and only use your weapon on your property, no, none of this applies to you. But if you're going to carry that weapon amongst the rest of us, I don't have a problem with there being at least an annual mandate that you qualify with that weapon, each and every weapon you carry. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with people who have these outbursts and they threaten folks or they threaten to harm themselves like they do here in Florida, and they come and take your weapons until the doctor say you okay. And it's a time limit on that. They can't do them indefinitely. But you seem to you got pushback for that, bro.
What, on the training?
Well, you on all that stuff. You like it sounds like you don't want any infringement at all on the way we're doing business right now. With
I'd rather stay the way it is. Yeah, I'd rather say the way it is. Here's why. Once you start, the tendency is to push things as far as you can with human beings, and people are going to try to take it too far. And what you're going to end up having is people. The more they push, the more they're going to upset people. Then you're going to have people rebelling. I don't want that. Okay, cops, I got no sympathy for them. God bless you for doing the job. Hats off to you, but it's not your fault. I'll say that it's not your fault. It's the policy and the politics around your profession that has caused me to think this way about your profession. Not you. So it's nothing personal, is what I'm saying. I got no sympathy for you. I think you should all quit. I really do. You're not getting the training that you need to protect citizens. You don't protect citizens because it's not your actual job. Your job is to respond to crime. It ain't to prevent it. You can catch criminals, and a person can't be a criminal unless they first committed a crime. You're not a fortune teller. So you have to wait till someone does something bad to do something about it. So now, and then plus the way they cover you guys up for all these bad shootings, and then none of you say anything. No, eat shit and die.
All right. So you heard it here first. My thing is this. I agree with what he's saying. So I say we raise the standards. I say we invest the money there. I say we get the best of the best, because people who go into law enforcement, a lot of them tend to go into law enforcement because that's like the last worst option that they have. They can't get a job. They can't hold a job down anywhere else. And I mean, you got a guy who's been living on his mama's couch for 15 years, applies to be a sheriff in some podunk town somewhere. Next thing you know, he's wearing a sharp uniform and he has a shield on and he's carrying at least one weapon. He's still the same nobody dude who was doing nothing with his life. You know what I mean? 3 weeks before in the training, they don't even get any real training.
No training.
That's like Brother Mandrell said, it's not your fault. I'm not coming down on you as cops. I'm simply saying I want you to be the best cop you can possibly be, and it takes training. If you can't outshoot me, you got a problem. I want you to be able to at least have a chance, a fighting chance against someone who has the type of training and experience that I have. If you come across them in the street, I want you to have a chance.
If you can't outshoot me, don't feel bad. Not many can.
Yeah, it's different. You run across Brother Mandrell, bro. Sorry. I don't care what kind of training you are.
Don't feel bad. Not many. Very few of you out there can. Just
sorry. But you should be able to handle yourself amongst the rank and file.
Yeah,
like, your training should be superior.
Did you see this cop beat up this little girl at a school, man? I mean, I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. That cop should be in a prison.
Yes.
And that's my thing. That's why I have those, because when they do mess up stuff, it's a bad shooting, a clear-cut bad shooting. They shouldn't have done it, or beat some up when they shouldn't have. Cops doing things they shouldn't do. They're not punished. Too many of them have been allowed to get away with it for my liking. Too many of them. So my thing is, what you're going to have pretty soon, because it used to be eventually, but I see this happening sooner rather than later. You're going to have citizens arming themselves to protect themselves against you, cop. Yeah, I don't want to see that. I do not want to see dead cops on my TV. I don't want to see that. That's going to be bad for everyone, even the people who are not involved. That's going to be bad. You do. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I appeal to cops. I had Nathan Daly on my show several times. He and I've had this conversation, Saint. I said, Nate, you're gonna have a cop run. You know how many times I've saved a cop's life for fucking with a veteran?
So
there's veterans. Look, and you know them white boys. You know, not to be racist. However, the fellas from the country, you know what I'm saying, the rednecks, cops sitting there asking questions. I see his arm going straight to his front, slowly. Cop didn't even notice. He's going for a sidearm. I stepped in between the two and started answering the cops' questions. This has happened several times. Cops, you have no idea at any given time who you run up on and you're bothering. a lot of you are going to start getting deleted out here.
This will go into the
Chill.
training that I'm talking about. This is what the
Yeah.
money would be for, because the police officers you're talking about will get washed out. Imagine a program they had a washout rate comparable to a washout rate that you would see in like a real military school. I'm not saying
Yeah.
like the Q course, because that's really high, but imagine, you know, the washout rate for law enforcement, in my opinion, should be 60%. 60% of the people who apply washout, the pay should be superior.
Yeah.
The training, the downtime. So you're not going to have a situation where you have a cop like that. You're going to have officers who come up. You're not going to have a situation where a law enforcement officer comes up and beats up a child or beats up an old lady or shoots someone, shoots a suspect because they thought they grabbed their taser and they grabbed their firearm. That should never happen. So in the world that I'm promoting, like, you know, this is what the money should go towards: training. Watch the bad apples out, because you're right. We've been generations and generations of this, and now cops, because of the body cams and because of the footage, and that, like you said, now they set the stage. So they talk about that thin blue line. Like, well, now you got all of America on the other side of that thin blue line, and guess what? They got guns too. And like I said, the rank and file law enforcement official cannot. I guarantee you cannot handle me, and you certainly can't handle Mandrell and them boys. You know what I mean? Because we can't handle them boys. You know what I would need to take out a team? I'm gonna need all kind of need air.
Right.
I'm gonna need armor. I'm gonna need all kind of stuff.
You can come at us from the air. Good luck finding us.
But
we got some for that too.
Exactly. Like, I'm gonna need all that, bro. So nah, man.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is just the issue isn't even necessarily the cops doing the wrong things, ODL. The real problem comes in once that cop has been caught doing the wrong thing, nothing's done to them, or very little has been done to them. Like not Ahmaud Arbery, but the fellow who was in the car with his girlfriend and his 7-year-old child, and he told the cop, Fernando Castillo, yes, he did everything right. The cop wigs out, guns him down in the driver's seat. Okay, the guy did everything right. The guy still got killed by and that cop just got fired. That's it. He's still allowed to go to the next county over and apply for a job.
And again, all that would be in there. I'm gonna do a show, bro. I'm gonna do a show just so I can break it all down for you. Because
you can't have that. I'm sorry I'm sorry the cop messed up, DL. I really am. But that cop needs to be in jail. Your standards have to be way higher than that. Your margin for error should be so low. There should be almost zero margin for error for your job when it comes to someone's life in there, because we're paying you our tax dollars and we're trusting you with our health and safety. But when you're the ones doing it to us,
right? Well, the way I would conquer that, bro, again, it would be that training. If you made it through that, if you were part of the 40% that got through that training, part of your training will be, hey, if y'all screw this up, this is what you're looking at.
There should be height and weight requirements as well. All throughout your career. All throughout your career.
If you're in the streets, height and weight requirements. Now, if you there's gonna be room for people pushing pencils and whatnot. Okay, y'all can eat donuts and get fat. But if you're in the streets, you know what I mean? You're gonna have to be fit. But the way I would deal with that, these law enforcement, these guys will know, like, look, we're paying y'all a lot of money. You're putting your lives on the line. Here's the thing. If any of y'all violate any of these statutes, you like that thing with Castile, you're going to prison. You're doing time. You're never going to be able to work in law enforcement again. You don't get your benefit packages. You don't get to retire. You don't get all that. We take this serious. This is why we're paying y'all so much money. Yeah. This is a high stress. You got to get it right job. So, and again, all that will be, you got to get it right. Now, of course, there's going to be accidents out there. Yeah, there are going to be accidents. We get that. But the accident better be the felon had a toy gun without the red tip on it. The accident better be something like, it's none of this. You rolled up on an 8-year-old and he got a gun and you shot him. That's not an accident. That's you wanting to fire your weapon. Yeah, we're going to deal with you.
That cop went to the next county over and applied for a job. That was his next posting. He did something messed up in his previous precinct. Yep. He gets let go. He applies for this one. This is like his second or third day on the job, and he does this to an 11-year-old kid. He goes to the next county over and applies for another job and gets that job.
Yep. So, and again, I mean, not to make this a police show. I know we kind of turned it into that. We're gonna get back to the end of the video here. But yeah, we did turn this into a cop thing because listen, I ain't gonna lie, I'm with Mandrell, man. I want the best out there protecting and serving. That's what I want, brother Pitney. The Second Amendment will still apply to our modern weapons the same way the First Amendment still applies to social. The First Amendment still applies to social media. I agree with you, man. There's some people out there that say it doesn't, but I'm with you on that, brother Paul Bennett. Law enforcement has a lot of nepotism. Facts. Facts. Dino. So Steve Holland is a Black SF legend. Is he? Curated the minigun platform and the 6.8 rifle. I've never heard of dude. You're Mandrell. Unmute.
I said he sure did.
Okay.
I never met him, but yeah, I know what he's talking about now.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. Gotta love the minigun. And brother Viking Paradigm, brother Mandrell's the type of guy I would like to train me. Well, like I said, Mandrell's always working on something. I got something. In fact, I got something in the mix where that might be a possibility, bro. I will keep you posted. I will keep you posted. We are working on it. Sister Candace, a cop must only be able to articulate their fear and they can get away with murder. Yeah, that's the standard line. I fear for my life. That's it. Whatever. I fear for my life, so I fired 13 rounds. What? To me, that's a waste of ammo too. That's another thing too. Like you're being trained to dump your. No, like I said, we coming off of that. We gonna say that for the show. It's like what Sister Candace, shameful what happened to Castile.
Yeah.
He should have known better. I ain't gonna lie to you. There's certain things I wouldn't have said nothing to that law. I'm not telling you.
I'm not telling you. I'm not either.
You gotta figure that out on your own.
When I'm pulled over, the second I pull over, I turn the car, put the car in park. I turn off my engine. I reach for my credentials. By the time the car walks up to my car, I got my window down.
Yep, here you go.
Good evening, officer. How can I help you?
You know why I stop you?
Insurance. Here you go. No, I stop you. No, I do not. Please.
I don't. Here you go. Here you go.
You know what I'm saying? I got that in my hands. Here you go, bro. Take it.
Right, sister. Take it. Yeah, Sister Candace. The Navy just waived all prior PFA failures in an attempt to retain more sailors. That's great. Yeah, they're having military's having a hard time. AI's gonna have to hurry up.
It's the Navy. So who cares?
Well, yeah, and I ain't gonna. That's him. That's not me. That's him. Brother Dino. I watched daytime police body cam of officers searching a property. They shot one cop twice in his leg and one cop shot in the chest with body armor. Hey man, that happens all the time. It's a dangerous job. It's just they need better training. I want to finish this last little bit of Patrick Bet-Davis video. It's only like a minute and a half or so left, and then we're gonna wrap this up because I like to keep it 2 hours. We're just a little over 2 hours, so it's not that bad. So let me put the video back up, and let's watch this last couple minutes of Brother Pat.
Next item: how long before I take the gun with me? Now think about this here. Tell me any reason why a person ought to be able to go to a store, buy a gun, who's never owned a gun before, and walk out 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes later. Give me any reason that we're going to need it, minus there's a war taking place and the government want us to be armed. Let's just say if that's the case, don't you think the government would announce and say, effective today, men can go get guns and all that? Let's just say that ugly situation takes place. Aside from that, why does a person need to get the gun right now and go use it? Can you wait a week? Have you ever been upset at somebody and a week later you got over it? Have you ever gotten to an ugly argument with an ex of yours and a day, 2 days, 3 weeks later, a week later, you were over it? So if you can wait a week to get calm after deciding to do something bad, maybe we give it a week before you can walk away with your gun. What's wrong with that? Maybe we make it 2 weeks. So that's a discussion that can be had. But you know which one I think matters the most? The last one here. Here's what it is. Socioeconomic status, father figure in your life. The more stability, the better the economy is, the more money people make, the less situations to want to be desperate to do something bad. Keeping the family nucleus together is important. We keep not giving enough credence to this. This matters. When I'm at home and my kids are running around doing what they're doing, my mother-in-law can say whatever she wants to say. My nanny, my wife can say whatever they say. And then when I come in, things change very quickly. Fathers have a certain influence over their kids that maybe mothers don't have, especially when it comes down to boys. We need to go back to recognizing the right values and principles. Maybe some of the values and principles we learned from our grandparents, maybe they're right. Maybe we need to go talk about some of that stuff. Maybe we need to say, hey, whatever denomination you are, whatever church you are, whatever faith you are, practice it. Take your kids to church. Take them to, maybe your school is a public school and you're not.
So this is the part right here. And y'all know I'm a huge fan of Patrick Bet-David. That's my guy. You know, if he had a fan club, I'd definitely be in that fan club, right? But I don't agree with that part right there. I get where he's coming from. But the problem today is kids don't fear their parents, especially these dudes. These kids don't fear these guys because these guys are so soft. I know, like, I had my first weapon when I was a teenager. My father gave it to me. I was in middle school. Yeah, I was in middle school. And I never took my weapon to school. Didn't need it there. I would never dream of going to school with a weapon and doing anything. I've said this before on this platform. Why? I wasn't worried about the police. I wasn't worried about nothing but my father. Like, I ain't trying to deal with this man. So to that point, I'm with Patrick Bet-David. But today's father, you know, we always talk about men versus males in America. There are a lot of males out there trying to raise these kids, and these kids don't fear them. So, you know, that's my pushback on that point, because kids just don't fear these parents these days. They out here doing all kind of crazy stuff. Maybe if we got to, you know, if it was okay to, you know, spank your kids, but Mandrell don't like that. Mandrell don't like that. So what's your take, brother Mandrell? And you muted, but what's your take on his last point there about, you know, the family and the father being an intricate part and maybe calming down some of this violence?
He definitely has a point if the father is being a father. You know, you got some fathers out there that are just deadbeats, you know, who just, they don't know how to raise kids. They're home, but they're not raising their children. You know what I mean? Not really teaching them anything. But he definitely has a point if the father is being active in his kids' lives like that. It can make an impact. It just depends, because you got some kids who are just, there's nothing you can do with them. You know what I'm saying? It's a people thing. Anytime you have kids, it's luck of the draw. You hope your kid end up this way. You hope they grow up to be that way. You know what I'm saying? It's a crapshoot. You never know. But can the father make a good influence? Yes, absolutely he can. How much of one? Just depends on the environment that the parents are cultivating for the children, the whole 9 yards. You know what I'm saying? He has a point, but how strong of one it is, don't know.
Yeah, no one knows. But in lieu of doing, I say at least do that. I'm okay with it. I wouldn't sit back and be like, oh man, you full of BS. No, I'll be all right, well, let's give it a shot. What do we need to do this? How can we allow men to have an active role in their child's life? Oh, we're going to have to amend some of these family court laws, 50-50? Ooh, I bet you that'll get people jumping up and down there. No, they don't want that. You're messing with people's money now. Or that could just be me being cynical. But we definitely need to do something, bro. Wonderful 34s in the house. What's good, fam? Shout out to you, man. Sister Candace, they don't fear the parents because there's a lack of respect. I agree with you there, sis. There's a lack of respect all the way around. I know my daughter listens to me, but I'm a father who's right there. I'm a firm dad. There are a lot of guys out there, a lot of men and women out there who want to be their child's best friend. You just can't do that. I'm sorry, y'all. That just doesn't work. You can't do that. So, Brother Mandrell, how can we help with this gun violence in America? Is there anything that can be done, or are we just going to have to keep it status quo and just say what needs to be said after someone gets deleted and leave it at that?
Well, it depends on what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want criminals and how free do you want America to be? How much of America's principles do you want to sacrifice? You have to ask yourself this, because every citizen, if you're a citizen of this country, you should have the right to bear firearms, right? Okay, well, what do you do about criminals who've done violent crimes? You say that, let's say they've done non-violent crimes, but then they've been in prison, they're felons, so they can't buy a firearm. Well, they're still citizens, and they got locked up for a non-violent crime. Say a step. Why can't they buy firearms? That's un-American. Why can't they vote? That's un-American. How much of America's identity do you want to give up for your freedom, or for your safety? You got to ask yourself that question. So, I mean, if you want to make it, I say you should not be able to purchase a firearm on your own at the age of 18 unless you've had training. And there should be courses funded for this. I agree with you on this, DL. There should be courses funding for courses like this where people can go qualify. You have to qualify for a driver's license. Why not a gun license at 18? Now, if you're 21 or if you served in the military, you don't need a license. Veterans and service members don't need a license. You're qualified. You're in the military. You don't get no more qualified than that.
Well, Air Force, Space Force, Navy.
Yeah, they don't exist. Space Force doesn't.
But no, I agree with you.
Air Force not important.
No, we need the Air Force. We need somebody to fly us to the fight. Now they nice enough to let us use their
We
airplanes.
got pilots. Army, we got pilots. Well, we need to. We got the ATL Warthogs. We got F-35s.
Can't jump out of those, bro.
We can jump out of C-17s, C-130s, C-7 Galaxies, tons of stuff. Chinooks, Black Hawks.
Like I said, I'm cool with the Air Force because they're nice enough to take us to the fight, man. Let's jump out. They didn't even have to land. Let us jump out.
We went to war on American Airlines. No fooling.
We had
was
Northwest.
We had our weapons in the whole nine, weapons and rucksacks the whole nine on American Airlines aircraft.
We went on a Northwest flight. It was Northwest back to Desert Storm. Northwest 747. All right,
we had American Airlines
F-16s. We went on Northwest Airlines, bro.
So why do we need the Air Force? We fly commercial.
Oh, man. Well, all right, okay.
What's the Air Force doing? You said it. They're nice enough to take us to war. Are they though? I mean?
A quick Don DeMarco for Brother Wonderful 34 with the $5 cash out, man. I appreciate you, bro.
But yeah, the question really is, DL, what are you gonna do? You know, to quell this down, it's a mental health issue. It ain't the guns. It's a mental health. People are motivated to take another person's life. That's the root of the problem. Find out why that is. Why are so many people motivated to do it? What's going on with our society?
And I agree with you there, brother. We don't have a gun problem. We got a crazy problem. We need to get control of the crazy. Yeah, yes, we can. The common sense procedures and protocols for purchasing firearms legally and all that. I'm with that 100%. What you said about the youngins, I'm with that 100%. I would take it a step further. Anyone who wants to carry their weapon concealed would have to qualify once a year. Brother Mandrell doesn't agree with me on that. I think Jay Swans does, but it depends. I'm open to even that. If you want to carry your weapon outside, if you want to keep your weapon in your house and on your own property, okay, you don't have to do that. But we need to start talking about this seriously. No more smoke and mirrors. And I don't take any politician serious if they don't talk about the mental health aspect, because that's what the problem is right now. It's just too much crazy walking around here. And then people like, well, we're going to make it hard for the legal people to get guns. Like Patrick Bet-David pointed out, you know, the average age of people who have firearms is like 60 something, between like 50 and 65 or something like that. They're old. They just got to, you understand that most people my age don't have firearms. Most people Mandrell's age don't have firearms. They don't. The numbers bear that out. So it's not us. We're not going out here deleting people. It's not us. It's the crazy folk who are doing it. And if anybody should be crazy, it should be us. We've been through enough. I mean, the stuff we went through. Come on, give me a
Why are we the most disciplined ones? We're the most mentally sound.
The most mentally sound. What's going on? So man, we should absolutely do something. I'm gonna kick back and wait and see. This episode is dedicated to Brother Dino Dinosaur. I wouldn't have done it without him. He was just on me about gun control. So I'm like, all right, bro, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna do the gun control show. I had
to holler at you because I was sitting and listening to you. I was like, let me call Jay Swans. Hey man, what's up with DL? Well, he sounds like a liberal.
Hey, like I said, I'm liberal about some things. I'm very conservative about
same thing here. I'm liberal about some stuff. Some stuff I'm conservative about. Yeah, it's like that. On this one, does something need to be done? Yes, but we have to sit down and figure out what that is, because you can't just blanket things or come at it haphazardly, because then you'll start infringing on people's rights. And once you're able to do that, or we give them the power to do that, then they can do anything. You can't allow the government to do that, because they will do it if it serves them. You know,
And was it Benjamin Franklin that said that people willing to give up liberty for false
Freedom
sense
for
of security
security. Freedom for security deserves neither.
deserve neither. Yeah. And that's it. Say that for me one more time clearly because I interrupted you.
People who are willing to give up freedom for security are deserving of neither.
See what they teach you in the Green Berets? Them smart boys over there. They make them open up books.
Yeah. It's a trip, man. The gun control is a subject I can sit here and talk to you about this all day. I really can. It's a subject I like to talk about because I like to sit down and think about, okay, if we're gonna do gun control, I like to, war game it. Okay, how we calm this down? You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, what it boils down to, people looking at the guns and the violence. The guns ain't the problem. It's the people. What's motivating people to go out and do these things? That has to be the question. And that's what we need to solve for. Because it wasn't always like this. And it was during harder times.
Right. Think of the Great Depression. You
Yeah.
would think, oh my God, you want to go crazy. That was the time to do it. So no, I agree with you 100%. And my biggest problem with the BS laws that they would love to enact, the gun control laws, they don't solve for anything. And really all they do is make more criminals because you have people who they're not going to give up their weapons.
No,
There are people out there who are like, they're not going to give up their weapons. So all you're doing is I'm not ATF.
Nope, I'm not doing it.
It's certain people just not going to give up their weapons. And like I like to point this out to people all the time. I've been around weapons and had weapons in my possession since I was a kid. I didn't get my first legal registered weapon until I was 50. So y'all think about that for a minute. It does not change anything. Criminals are going to go out there and do what criminals do. All you're doing with these BS little gun laws that they try to make the smoke and mirrors is you just make more criminals. How about we go help those people who need help? There's people out there who are crazy. Anyone who wakes up and plans out an attack to delete babies is crazy. Period.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand that. I'm with you on that all the way. I don't understand the people who go out and harm children. I really don't get it. I do not understand it. Now those are the people who do deserve, like, okay, you can't be here no more.
Yeah, they crazy.
I got to give you the gas chamber or the needle or the electric chair.
You ain't making it.
Yeah,
you ain't making it that far, bro. You ain't making it that far. I'm giving order 66. That's gonna be part of that training I was telling you about with the police. Order 66 on this one.
Go ahead and dome him.
Yeah, order 66 on this one, bro.
Go ahead and dome him. What? He ain't making it to trial.
No. But
no more, man.
This is why they'll never put me and Mandrell in charge or people like us in charge because it'll be a brand new America, guys. It'll be a brand new America.
Certain people, free fire. Go ahead.
Yeah, make it happen.
Go ahead.
So,
go ahead and take
brother,
it.
I appreciate you coming up. Like I said, I know you could talk about this all day, man. Like me, you, and Jay Swan still got to do that show, man. We're just gonna wild out and talk military stuff, man. You're gonna just beat up on us, but we gonna give it back just as good as you give it, bro. You hear me? Ooh, pause. But
yeah, pause that one. And unlikely.
Pause. But nah, being the big bro, being the Green Beret, you know what I mean? Being, tip of the spear, bro. Nothing but respect for you. Being on the teams, especially, man. Nothing but respect for you, bro. And to anyone who served the United States military, man, or anybody who served their country, wherever you are, man, salute to you. Because anybody who toes the line is all right with me. Except for the Swiss. Do they have an army over there? Oh, they got the Swiss Guard. They protect the Pope, right?
They do.
They're hardcore. I take it back. Shout out to the Swiss. Here you go. However y'all salute.
They're not that hard.
However y'all salute.
Those guys are a joke. We sitting there and watch those guys train. I was like, that's it?
It is Switzerland, bro. You know what I mean?
Switzerland. What are they going to do?
It is Switzerland. Brother Dinosaur, thank you, Brother Mandrell. Great conversation. Thank you, bro. Again, we wouldn't have had this show without you. We should touch on the political angle sometimes. We tried to on this one, man, but, American politics is a mess. Brother Paul Bennett, the only winning move is not to play. You know what I mean? And there's people who believe that as well. Shout out to you, Brother Paul. I got to get you on this panel one of these days, man. We're going to have a show with just the old heads on here, man. We have the Jedi Council meeting and just talk about some stuff, man.
Jedi Council meeting.
Just have a Jedi Council meeting over here. So listen, man, I'm done. Tomorrow, what do we got tomorrow, man? Let me look at I made a whole bunch of thumbnails. Let me see what we got coming up. Let's see. Live tomorrow, we have the parenting show, Parenting Today. Parents is called Parenting Stuff. My daughter asked me for she wants an allowance And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk about this on TV. So we're gonna talk about parenting in today's world. That's Wednesday. Thursday, movie talk. We just gonna be talking about movies. Your favorite movie, your worst movie. You know what I mean? Movies that are just stupid, movies you think are great. It's a free for all. It's gonna be an open mic movie talk Thursday right here at 6 p.m. And then Friday, I'm gonna have your sister on here, bro. It's Friday. We got shoot you, man. We got something planned. We're gonna be talking about some more along the lines of the new traditional. Should there be a new traditional when you talk about relationship roles and stuff like that? When it comes to the male role versus the female role, we're gonna talk about that. Should we have?
The thing is, I think what we need to do is accept the fact that that's in America, that's dead in certain communities.
Exactly. So, like, what is the new rule? And that's what we're going to talk about.
There's no new tradition. We have to make a new tradition.
Okay, that's what we're going to talk about.
Our show tonight is going to be entitled "You Get What You Negotiate."
Ooh.
We're going to have a special guest on, the real Precious.
I'm going to say it's not me.
No, it's not you this time. But tomorrow night, a special guest is going to be the real Precious. She's going to join us, shoot you another tomorrow night. And the title is going to be "You Get What You Negotiate."
Oh, I like that, bro. I'll definitely be there. Black Man Unfiltered, shout out to you. Black Man Unfiltered have Talk That Talk Tuesday, right? That's what's going on tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Talk That Talk Tuesday. And then Unapologetic with Mandrell and Shushu on Wednesday. Tomorrow. And let's make sure we go over there and support them. Black Man always has some good stuff on there. We got beautifully animated speaks in the house. What's good, love? How you doing? Good to see you. I'm so glad you stopped by. That's for you. We are just wrapping up. We are done. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up of what's coming. Oh, and on Sunday, again, we have our financial guru. She'll get mad at me for calling her a guru, but compared to me, she is. May Ling is going to be with us on Sunday, 2 p.m. I know that's normally Sunday, the tech day, but we're going to be talking finance. She has a YouTube channel, and that's all she talks about is finances. She's agreed to come over and school my dumb ass on the topics. We're going to talk about everything political. I'm sorry, everything financial. We're going to break down REITs, we're going to not NFTs, but REITs. Talk about your portfolio. What's a well-balanced portfolio? Talk about stocks, talk about bonds. We're going to talk about the regional bank situation. We're going to talk about this upcoming situation with commercial real estate and how that would affect the markets. We're also going to talk about how the Federal Reserve and the Secretary of Treasury Department works together and how that's supposed to work. So, because a lot of people, I'm sure, don't really understand what the Federal Reserve is. They think it's part of the government when it really is.
And it's not. Yeah, it's an independent entity.
Independent entity, one of the most powerful positions on the planet, and it's not political. You can't run for it. Someone has to appoint you to it. So that's on Sunday, guys, at 2 p.m. I hope you guys can make it. Brother Mandrell, you got anything you want to end with?
People, if you're gonna buy a firearm, SIG Sauer, period, hands down. Don't worry about anything else. That's all you need. It's pricey, I know, but worth the money. Okay, worth it. For more advice on firearms, hit me up on Mandrell_21 on Instagram. And for fitness and nutrition advice, or if you're interested in buying a program, which I strongly recommend you do, hit me up on Instagram, Mandrell_21 on Instagram. And check us out tonight on Unapologetic with Mandrell and Shushu.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, 8:30 Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.
There it is. Make sure y'all there, man. That's what's up, fam. You're getting better at this, man. You're getting better. Let me get your hand.
I'm trying.
You're getting better.
I'm not at your level yet.
Yes, you are. Yes,
you and Shushu have good chemistry, like on camera, man. Y'all bounce back and forth. I mean, it's entertaining and it's information. Yeah, y'all are good at this.
That's because I don't say shut the hell up. You sometimes comes out. You know what I mean? Your Tourette's be acting up sometimes.
Tourette's.
Did they issue you that when you got out? Here you go.
I think they did. I think
this Tourette's with you.
Right. Take this Tourette's with you. Take it to the rest of the world, man. You'll need it. I will. Like a dummy. I will. Yeah. Okay.
Sister Candace, my husband has a SIG. I have a Glock. Facts. Y'all better get with these Glocks, y'all. I'm trying to tell y'all. I don't know why man girl don't listen.
That's plastic. Too much plastic. That's a toy.
Sister Candace, you right on point with that Glock. I ain't mad at you. Got the Glock 23 sitting right here.
Get your SIG P226.
Well, when
That's
I
right.
guess Mandrell saying he gonna cash app you that SIG money, I guess. Go ahead. He gonna send you 8,000. He got 8,000 on it.
No. The 226, the handgun. Listen, that gun's about $800
Whew.
for one. Like I said, expensive people, but worth the money.
Well,
I'm
we'll leave it
worth
there.
well worth the money.
Man, Sig, you better send a clip to this to Sig, man, so they can give you a discount or something.
Or something. See me this. I bought enough of your products.
Hey, y'all hook the brother up. Hook the brother up. Show your show your dedication to the United States military. Send the Green Beret a Sig.
Right.
So all right, we're done, y'all. I'm DL saying this is Mandrell. And this is the Downrange Podcast. Thank y'all so much for rocking out with us, man. We hope you enjoyed the show. I know we had a good time bringing it to you. And that's it. We out. Talk to you later, man. Peace.
Darn, that's the end.